Wren grips the bag of rations she'd nearly died to earn. She freezes outside her door. Her hand barely brushes the handle when broken. Ragged sounds bleed through from inside. Her whole body locks up. A low, mocking laugh cuts through the corridor beside her. Wren turns her head. It is Cassidy from the pod next door, throwing her a look soaked in pity and ridicule. "Home early today?" Cassidy drawls, voice pitched loud enough to draw stares from passing residents. "What are you standing there for? Why don't you just open the door and go in?" Wren trembles, not from cold. She bites down hard, twists the handle, and slips through the gap. The door slams shut behind her, sealing Cassidy's smug laugh on the other side. The room is black. The window is sealed shut, the air thick and stale. As her eyes adjust to the dark, she takes a few steps forward. The toe of her boot catches on something soft on the floor. She looks down. Her face goes flat. The last splinter of hope in her chest shatters, and something hotter rushes in to fill the space. Fury. She bends and picks up the underwear at her feet. She walks toward the half-open bedroom door. At this distance, the sounds inside are sickeningly clear. Through the gap, she sees two shapes tangled on the bed. "Vance, when are you finally going to tell Wren about us?" A voice whines from inside. "You promised me last time." Don't touch there. I hate it." The voice is too familiar. Wren stands frozen for 3 full seconds. Then she kicks the door open. "Vance, don't you feel even a flicker of guilt?" She hurls the bag of rations straight at the pair on the bed. Her eyes blur with tears, but the rage underneath is steady. The two on the bed flinch hard at her shout. "Brilliant! Just brilliant, Vex." Wren's voice scrapes raw. "You really didn't disappoint me. The two of you. I really was blind. What did I ever do to deserve this from either of you?" She rips the dagger from the strap on her calf. The blade still wears a thin film of dried crimson. A wild, flickering madness lights her eyes. She lunges at the bed, blade swinging. Those two. One is the man she loved for 2 years. The man who waited through 5 years of the collapse beside her. The other, almost laughably, is her precious cousin, Vex. The blade slices the air. Vex screams, shrill and broken. "Ah, Vance!" Vance reacts fast. His right arm shoves the petrified girl on top of him aside. His left arm swings up and catches the blade clean in his palm. A dry, metallic clang rings out. Wren stares at the half-dressed man in front of her. Vance's left arm is a cybernetic arm, the result of a limb replacement surgery from years back. "Wren, dial it down." Vance bites out, that familiar, impatient edge sliding back into his voice. The tone he's always used on her. "Sister," Vex calls softly from behind Vance's back, scraping for that same wounded puppy look she always wears, that delicate face. That fake, pitiful tilt of her chin. The old Wren would have crumbled on the spot, but right now that little snake is lying naked on Wren's boyfriend's bed. Not a thread of sisterly affection survives in Wren's eyes. She grits her teeth and shoves down hard on the dagger, but Vance's metal hand clamps on the blade like a vice. She cannot pull free. Wren's left hand whips behind her back. A small handgun slides into her palm. Without hesitation, she levels the muzzle at Vance's chest. Panic flashes through his eyes. He releases the blade and throws the metal arm up to shield himself. Crack. The round slams into the cybernetic arm. Sparks scatter. The bullet rings against the floor as it falls. "Vance, she's trying to take us out." Vex hisses, ducking behind him. The mask slips. Real venom bleeds through. Cold sweat breaks across Vance's face. Without that metal arm, he would have been gone. Rage punches up through him. He swings the cybernetic fist and drives it into Wren's stomach. Pain rips through her insides. The blow flings her backward. The handgun spins out of her grip and clatters to the floor. Vex moves like a hawk. Bare feet slapping the floor, not even bothering to dress, she snatches the weapon. Wren curls on the cold floor, both arms locked around her stomach. Crimson seeps through the fabric, soaking her shirt, spreading across the floor in a slow, dark stain. Click. Vance flips on the light. Harsh white floods the room and lights up the dark pool already widening beneath her. Both of them go still. Choking down the pain that sears through her ribs, Wren forces herself onto one elbow. Crack a second shot. Wren's shoulder snaps back. The impact slams her down again. Vex is the one holding the gun. Vance frowns at the weapon in Vex's hand. Don't end her. She still has value. Vex blinks like she'd forgotten something, then slowly lowers the muzzle. Vance's eyes drag down to the dark stains spreading at Wren's stomach. That punch of his could not have made a wound like that. He steps over and slaps her cheek hard, twice, forcing her eyes to focus. Hand over everything in your storage. Now. Ha! Ptooey! Wren scrapes together what's left of her and spits a mouthful of red right into his face. Humiliation jerks Vance into a fresh wave of fury. His hand swings up to strike her, but she tilts her head and the blow misses. Hand it over, Vance roars. His boot drives a brutal kick into her ribs. The kick launches her a full meter, dragging a long, dark smear across the floor behind her. The pretense is gone now. He doesn't bother playing the warm boyfriend anymore. In truth, the wound at Wren's stomach is not from him. It is the leftover of a fight with raiders earlier, when she'd put her life on the line scavenging food for the two of them. A bitter, self-mocking smile pulls at her mouth. Hilarious. The uncle's family she'd taken in. The cousin who'd spent 2 years scheming behind her back. The boyfriend who'd weathered the collapse beside her. All of them, vultures wearing human faces. No wonder. Sometimes when she came home with food, the neighbors looked at her with that strange, knowing pity. Now it all fits. Today is Vance's day off. She had come home early to surprise him. And she is the one who got the surprise of her life. Vance, what do we do now? Vex's voice slips an octave higher. Boots are pounding down the corridor outside. Fists hammer the door. The 2 gunshots have already drawn sector security. Wren feels her body temperature draining away. She fixes her stare on Vance's hollow, greedy eyes. You want what's in my storage? Her voice rasps. Dream on. A grenade appears in her palm. Vance's face twists in horror. No. Too late. The blast rolls through the room like a train. Light flares, then everything cuts to black across his vision. A single tear slides from the corner of Wren's eye and traces down her temple. Before the pain can swallow her, she closes her eyes. If there's a next life, she thinks, I will never let myself go blind like this again. Drop. Drop. Drop the cloth. Set it gently behind a friend. Don't tell her. Don't tell her. Bright, off-key voices drift past her ears. Wren slowly opens her eyes and lifts her head. She sits in the middle of a wide circle of college freshmen in baggy camo fatigues. All of them are watching her, half laughing, ready to tease. She stares up at the open sky. The sounds around her hum and warp, as if the whole scene is real but standing very far away. She turns to the girl beside her. It is Tiffany, the campus icon of their class. The girl who'd fallen in the 3rd year of the collapse. Around her sit faces she knows all too well. Most of them ended up buried under a blizzard, drowned in a flood, or cut down by raiders. A pink cloth flicks back and forth in front of her face. Her vision sharpens. Tiffany is the one holding it, wearing a sly little grin. She is teasing Wren on purpose, waving the cloth around to play up her own charm for the boys watching. Memory crashes back. Wren remembers. This is freshman drills, the 20-day training all first-year students go through before classes start. A handful of girls had started up a circle game called Pass the Cloth. The cloth had clearly been dropped behind Wren, but Tiffany, hungry for the spotlight, had picked it up on purpose. She knew Wren hated performing in front of crowds. Wren almost wonders if she is dreaming. In her past life, what had she done? She just sat there, frozen. When the round ended and the crowd hooted at her to get up and perform, Tiffany had hauled her to her feet with a syrupy little line. Oh, it's just a game. I didn't think you'd get so embarrassed. Fine, I'll perform with you. Let's sing together. Wren watches the old script lining itself up to repeat. She lifts her gaze and looks straight into Tiffany's playful eyes. The disorientation is gone. What is left is a stillness so cold it could freeze water. Tiffany meets that stare. Her smile cracks. Wren glances at the cloth, then jerks her chin at the crowd and raises her voice. Looks like this one really wants to perform. Why don't we all let her have the stage? Tiffany goes blank. The crowd around them whoops in approval. When Tiffany flusters and tries to drop the cloth, Wren's hand snaps out and locks around her wrist. The grip is so tight Tiffany cannot tear loose. Time's up, Wren says flatly. Get up there. Perform, perform, perform. The crowd chants. Under the rising chant, Tiffany's face floods red. She forgets for a moment that Wren is still gripping her wrist. She has no choice. She stands. She tugs the band from her hair. Long, glossy hair tumbles loose down her back, framing the small, polished features of her face. The boys whistle louder. Tiffany leans into it, peeling off the loose camo jacket to show off the snug shirt beneath, every curve on display. Soft sounds of appreciation ripple around the circle. She nods at one of the girls nearby. Music kicks in, a sharp, pulsing beat. Tiffany steps to the center of the circle and starts to dance. And then, from above, white flakes begin to drift down. Wren's head snaps up. Murmurs of surprise spread through the crowd. They are in the deep south. Year-round warmth. Snow is something many of these kids have only seen in pictures. Snow. It's snowing. Look. No way. It's actually snow. Tiffany falters, dance forgotten. Wren holds out her hand. A few flakes settle in her palm and melt instantly into wet little blossoms. The cold soaks into her skin. Her pupils contract. Her right hand pinches her thigh. Hard. Not enough. She digs her nails into her left arm. Hard enough to bruise. The pain confirms it. The cold mask in her eyes splinters. Beneath it is something close to fevered joy. She is alive again. And she has come back to the exact moment. The collapse begins to fall. The freak snow throws the whole campus into chaos. Even the drill instructors get distracted, silently letting the students play. Wren uses the opening, slips out of the crowd, and disappears. She heads straight to the campus health office. She finds the on-duty staffer and uses her near-expired student ID badge to file for medical leave. In her past life, this useless little card turned out to be the thing that saved her. Since classes have not started, her dorm is half empty. She strips the bed of every blanket and sheet, jams everything useful into her backpack, and turns to leave. Just as she reaches the door, her 3 roommates spill in, all giggles, each one clutching a freshly packed snowball. Wren cannot even be bothered to remember their names. The 3 of them, Madison, Chloe, Brooke, stare at her loaded arms, eyes round. Wren, where are you going? Why are you packing up everything? Wren is about to answer when Madison cuts in. Hey, if you're moving out anyway, can I have your bunk? Sure. Wren says flatly. She slips past them and steps out into the wide corridor. Images flash through her mind. Flesh, smears screaming. She glances back at the laughing girls in the dorm. In a future not far from now, this place will become a slaughterhouse. The 20-day freshman drills will trap every student inside the gates. When the blizzard cuts off every road and the food runs out, the violence inside these walls will eclipse anything happening out in the world. She remembers the corridor under her boots running dark and sticky, the stairwell stacked with bodies, the faces drifting past her now. Wren sees them all the way they will look at the end. Painted in blood. 5 years swimming through the apocalypse have warped something in Wren. In a place where humans gnaw on their own kind to last another night, no one walks out clean. She steps out of the building. Above her, the blizzard is thickening. The flakes seem heavier than they were in her past life. She cuts to the campus mailroom, ships every bag back home, then taps a lime to unlock a public bike and pedals out. She is barely halfway across the quad when a figure plants itself in front of her wheel. Where are you off to? Wren narrows her eyes at the young face. Vance. At this point in the timeline, the 2 of them are still officially a couple. Survival reflex kicks on. Her eyes sweep the area. 1 camera overhead, 150 meters down the path, 1 hidden in the canopy of the tree to her right. The collapse has just barely started. 2 months out. and the social order will fully unravel. A dozen ways to make this man disappear flicker through her head, then logic clamps down on every one of them. It's almost lunchtime. Where do you think you're going? Vance smiles at her, soft and warm, the kind of look he'd practiced into reflex. The look almost makes her gag. The camera in the tree on the left rotates toward them. 5 years in the apocalypse drilled it into her keep eyes on every camera and angle within 50 meters. She does not know exactly when Vance and Vex started sneaking around behind her back, but at the level of intimacy from her past life, it had to have been going on for a long time. Vance is 1 year older, 2 textbooks under his arm, gold-rimmed glasses perched on his nose, just stepping out of the library. The look hits every intellectual gentleman beat. Plenty of girls turn their heads as they walk past. Snow is thickening on their shoulders. Vance steps closer and lifts his hand to brush the flakes off her sleeve. The old Wren would have been moved to tears. This Wren tilts away coldly. His hand stops in the air. He freezes for a beat, then pulls back. Real confusion floods his face. Did I do something wrong? Her shift makes no sense to him. Before today, she was the one always clinging to him. Sweet, eager, never cold like this. Wren ignores him and looks up into the white, blurred sky. She has no time to spar with this trash. She has exactly 1 week. The only thing that matters now is grabbing supplies and stockpiling. Wren, my birthday is next month. I booked a room at the Venus Hotel. You'll come, right? Vance keeps shadowing her, his words dancing around an obvious gift hint. He'd been eyeing an expensive watch he could not afford. He'd dropped the hint to her 5 or 6 times by now. He is sure that a girlfriend as devoted as Wren will buy it for him next month. Get out of my way, you idiot. Wren bites the words out. The disgust rolls off her in a wave. She does not even bother keeping up the good girlfriend act for 1 more second. Vance stands frozen, the words still ringing in his ears. Did he hear that right? Wren? The girl who never stopped clinging to him? Just cursed him out? He meets her cold eyes, and the warm smile on his mouth dies. Could she already know? Before he can recover, Wren is pedaling away, not a single look back. Only at the intersection at the end of the road does she stop. She turns and casts one heavy, dark glance back at him. The future is long, she thinks. I won't let you and Vex have it easy. Death is too clean. I'm going to make you both feel the bottom of the collapse. The kind of cold and pain that goes through bone. Living and wishing you were gone, that's the punishment that fits. This time, there will be no Wren to hand them their lives on a tray. She wants to see how long Vance and the Hales last on their own. At the campus gate, she pulls out her phone and pings an Uber to the Amtrak station. While she waits, she turns and looks back at the gates. Greenvine University Sector A gold characters etched into the massive stone gate. In her past life, she'd been trapped behind those gates, too. The carved stone in front of her overlays itself with a memory drenched in red. Fresh crimson smeared across the rock, bodies stacked across every inch of the courtyard. A horn cuts through her thoughts. The Uber. Wren climbs in. The driver has his music up loud, a thumping beat, and he weaves through traffic like he is dancing along. A historic moment for Sector A. The radio voice cuts in over the music when the driver flips channels. The city is seeing a once-in-a-century snowfall. Citizens, please remain calm. This is artificial snow being released to lower temperatures. The driver bursts out laughing and kills the radio. Artificial snow, my foot. Tell that to a kid. He pivots to the man in the front seat, and the two of them launch into a loud back and forth about politics. Wren sits in the back and listens. Now and then the driver tries to drag her into the chat. When the car pulls up at the Amtrak station, he hauls her bag down for her and winks. 5 stars, yeah, miss? The ticket in her hand reads, Sector K, her hometown. The place that, in her past life, after the riots broke out, she never set foot in again. Settled into her seat on the train, Wren's heart hammers from a different kind of adrenaline. She pulls a small notebook from her bag, takes out a pen, and starts writing out a survival list. After the blizzard, water will not be the immediate problem. Food is the first priority. Then medicine. 1 month after the snow, the temperature will drop off a cliff. The worst stretch is half a year of sub-zero readings. The dead from cold alone will be uncountable. Heat-retaining gear is non-negotiable. Sifting back through every horrific memory of the collapse, Wren writes down every item she had failed to anticipate before. Only when she is sure she has not missed a single line does she look up and out the window. The man in the next seat keeps stealing glances at her notebook, curiosity working across his face. He just glimpsed the words, 2 tons of rice, and is probably wondering if she runs a corner store. Outside, the snow keeps falling, blanketing everything. Sector A is not the only one. The neighboring cities are already swallowed in the same white. Sector M and Sector N are getting snow too. Look at this. It's spreading nationwide. And it's not light either. I just saw the news. The government is calling it nationwide artificial snow. The 4 passengers in the row behind her swap whispers. Wren listens and her mind is clear. It is a play to keep the public calm, to stop riots. But once the food is gone and the dread sets in, those lies will shred under the weight of public anger. The train pulls into Sector K the next afternoon. She steps out into the station and sees city sanitation workers stationed every 50 meters, clearing snow. Along the road, kids and adults are building snowmen and pelting each other with snowballs. A few street vendors have already pivoted to Christmas trinkets. A girl in a red coat steps out of an alley, clinging to her boyfriend's arm. A bakery window glows with snowman cakes, a scene of warmth, a scene of peace. So bright, it almost makes her skin crawl. The polar opposite of the inferno she has carried back in her head. She tightens her grip on her suitcase and walks fast to clear the bustling street. Willowvine Estates. She taps her key fob at the gate and walks straight to Building 3, Apartment 401. The key clicks in the lock. The door swings open. The familiar scent of cypress wood hits her. The first thing she sees is the massive bookshelf by the entry, packed with study materials. At the desk behind it, she can almost see the ghost of her younger self bent over books, grinding her way into Greenvine University, the most prestigious school in the country. On the wall beside the shelf hangs a framed portrait of her grandparents. Their faces are stern, almost never smiling. But Wren knows. In this whole world, the only 2 people who ever loved her without conditions were them. She locks the door and bolts it. Then she strides into the bedroom. She throws open the wardrobe, drops to her knees, and starts pulling out armfuls of old clothing. Finally, at the very bottom, her fingers close on a wooden box. She fishes out the key tucked into the bedside cabinet and pops the lid. Inside lies what her grandmother left her, a small collection of gold and silver jewelry. Wren tips the whole pile out onto the mattress and starts sifting through with both hands. Not this, not this. Here it is. She closes her hand around a pendant of black jade. Excitement flashes through her eyes. Her fingers shake. Her right hand reaches up to the thin chain at her neck and yanks the white jade pendant free. Black jade in her left hand, white jade in her right. Some unseen pull seems to draw the 2 stones together, slow but steady. Wren holds her breath, eyes locked on them. In her past life, the white jade had hung at her throat for years. Then, in the 3rd year of the collapse, she'd taken a bad wound and a single drop of her blood had landed on it. That triggered the vault, a storage space the size of 3 birds' nests. By then, of course, it was useless. People were digging up roots and gnawing on them to last another day. There was nothing left to store. She'd ended up using it as a weapons cache. The black jade was her grandmother's. As a child, Wren used to play with it like a magnet. Now, with both stones in her palm, she pulls a sewing needle, jabs the pad of her finger, and lets a single bead of crimson drop onto them. The blood vanishes instantly. A pale glow flares. The 2 stones crack apart and dissolve into fine dust right there in her hand. Almost at once, agony rips through her skull. Wren staggers and crashes to the floor. Lights out. When she comes back, the clock reads 2 in the morning. The pain is gone. She brushes the jade dust off her hand and realizes her body feels charged. Energy hums through her. Her head is sharper than it has ever been. She focuses inward and calls. A space opens up inside her mind. Wait, Wren says aloud. The fusion with the black jade has set off some kind of mutation. Beside the familiar still chamber of the vault sits a wide stretch of black soil. She tests it with a thought. A handful of the dark, damp earth materializes in her palm. She glances at the cup on the bedside cabinet. The thought barely forms, and the cup blinks out of the room and reappears, set neatly on the soil inside. She rolls the dirt between her fingers. Loose. Aerated. She'd grown up in the countryside with her grandmother, and her hands know fertile soil when they touch it. This soil is rich beyond anything she has ever felt. Farmland? Real farmland. A wild, almost manic happiness floods her. After the blizzard, Earth will roll into the long winter, more than a year of nothing but sub-zero. No plant species will survive. Even greenhouse vegetables will rot in their beds. But not now. Not anymore. A loud rumble cuts through her thoughts. Her stomach. Wren grabs her phone and pulls up the food delivery app. She does not hesitate. She opens the first restaurant in the list and starts adding to cart, sweeping every place on the screen. The soft confirmation chime keeps pinging as the charges go through. To dodge suspicion, she keeps every individual order to a 10-person serving and tags each one with the same note. Hosting a small party at home. Make extra, please. Only with the barbecue does she stop holding back. 10 skewers of every kind, 30 skewers of fresh meat. She wipes out the menus of 5 different barbecue joints. When this snow turns into the tyrant it is going to become, every one of these places will close forever. If she does not eat this now, she might never taste it again. But hammering out one massive order after another at this hour is risky. If the cybersecurity system is filtering for hoarders, she will get flagged. Wren forces herself to stop. She switches over to the 24-hour pharmacies and starts loading her cart with the medications she'll need most in the early months of the collapse. But pharmacy quantities are capped. Anything above the cap requires a pharmacist's sign-off. Push too hard and the system will flag her as a fraud. She drops back onto the bed and pulls a long breath, trying to slow her heart rate. Keep it together. There is still time. She cannot tug too hard on the wire. The government is locking everything down right now. She thinks back to the first year of the collapse. 6 months in, her group, Vance, the Hales, finally crossed paths with the recovery team out of the green zone. Those people had absolutely known what was coming. They'd locked down information and quietly built the underground shelters. Stockpiled too aggressively, and Wren's name will be on a watch list by morning. She checks her Venmo balance, about $4,000. Every cent of it earned by her own hands. Yoga lessons and swim coaching all summer. The savings her grandmother had left her had been cleaned out by her deadbeat father the day after the funeral. Lucky for Wren, while she was alive, Grandma Rose had seen the play coming and signed the apartment over to her directly. Her phone contacts can be counted on one hand. 2 of them are at the top of her list of people she finds revolting. Frank, the father who'd been cheating before Wren was even born, and Marlene, the mother who'd remarried and moved on. Both of them have their own neat little family lives now. Neither one bothers to remember she exists. The texts they sent congratulating her on Greenvine were as flat as copy-paste. Tuition, of course, was nowhere in either message. She is used to it. It was the bone-deep need for family that pushed her to swallow every last humiliation the Hales handed her, only to be treated like trash for it. The doorbell cuts through her thoughts. She glances through the peephole. A young delivery guy stands frozen in the corridor. Clearly, he is carrying more than one order. His arms are weighed down. At his feet sits a small mountain of takeout boxes. Wren pops the door open. He looks up. His eyes are wide with the open curiosity of a man trying to figure out what kind of bottomless stomach orders this much food. But the second he sees her, he goes blank. All of this is yours? Yeah, I'm waiting for friends. Big party tonight. Wren laughs, easy and casual. Just leave it in the corridor. I'll bring it in myself. The delivery guy sets the load down and turns toward the stairs. His eyes flick back to the brass numbers on the door, 401, with a flicker of doubt. The second he is out of sight, Wren lifts a hand. The whole pile of takeout vanishes, swept clean into the vault. Willowvine Estates is an older complex. No corridor cameras. The residents are mostly elderly. The old trees outside grow thick and dense, turning every floor into a perfect blind spot. As she shuts the door, she glances at the unit across the hall. It has been empty for years, ever since the elderly couple who lived there moved abroad to be with their kids. Back inside, Wren reaches into the vault and pulls out a single steamed pork bun and a few pan-fried dumplings, pork and cabbage. She bites into the dumpling. The crisp shell shatters, hot pork broth bursts in her mouth, her eyes close. A wave of something close to weeping happiness moves through her. In the long, gnawing months of the past life, she had dreamed about Sector K dumplings. She had dreamed about this exact taste while she sat chewing on stripped bark to fool her stomach. She opens her phone and tallies every asset she has. Venmo balance plus the few thousand sitting in her bank account, her college emergency fund. Total, around $7,000, almost nothing for a stockpiling sprint. But a sharp gust knifes through the window sill, dragging her back to the cold reality. Not enough to buy everything. But her list is sharpened down to a blade. Every dollar will be spent like a round of ammo to keep her alive. Outside, snow ticks against the window in dry, brittle rhythms. The shouts of teenagers carry up through the night air. They are still out there in the small hours, celebrating the disaster that will very soon take their lives. The doorbell rings again. Before Wren can even reach for the handle, the sharp, biting smell of chili creeps in through the gap. On the other side stands a small delivery girl in a bright yellow uniform. The tip of her nose flushed red from the cold. "Hey, you're a food vlogger, right? Our group chat is going wild over you." The young delivery girl looks at Wren with bright, eager eyes. The delivery app, it turns out, has its own back channel, a private group chat couriers use to swap notes. They share war stories about difficult customers, orders that demand the door but no knock and no call. Request to haul a 5-gallon water jug to the 30th floor without using the elevator. Wren's non-stop spending tonight has clearly caught the network's attention. It serves as a reminder. "I'm not a vlogger," Wren says easily. "It's snowing tonight. Perfect weather for a barbecue spread. I've already messaged friends. They're coming over to celebrate. I can't eat all this on my own." The explanation lands clean. The girl looks at Wren's slim frame and accepts it without question. She glances at the takeout boxes piled by the door. Clearly, no one person could tear through that much food. After the girl steps into the elevator, the second elevator chimes almost on cue. Another delivery guy steps out. For the next 2 hours, the elevators run nonstop. A few of the couriers even take note of Wren's apartment number on their way out. She catches every glance. The constant traffic at Willowvine Estates eventually pulls in 2 security guards. 2 men, in their 50s in brown uniforms, batons in hand, follow a courier into the elevator and find their way to her floor. When the 2 of them get a clear look at Wren, both faces shift. They've watched her grow up. When she made it into Greenvine University, the most prestigious school in the country, they had been honestly happy for her. "Hey, Wren girl, what are you doing?" The lead guard takes in the corridors stacked with delivery bags. There is barely a place to step. "Aren't you supposed to be at school? Why are you back?" He runs the math in his head. It feels like Wren just left for university barely a week ago. "Sir, I had to take a leave for a personal matter. I came home for a few days. Friends are coming over later. I just ordered some food for the gathering." It is the same story she's repeated all night. In their eyes, Wren has always been the quiet, polite kid. Lying to them does not even register as a possibility in their heads. They look around, see she is fine, tell her not to stay up too late, and head back to the security desk. Everything leaves a trace. Any small flag could draw the wrong kind of attention. Wren does not relax. After every order is signed off, she shuts the door and sweeps every package in the apartment into the vault. When she awakened the space, her head split with pain, and she'd blacked out. Now her head is clear. There is no fatigue at all. She switches on every light in the apartment. She finds incense candles and a small stack of spirit money, and she pays her respects to the 2 portraits on the wall. She burns every sheet of spirit money in the apartment. Then she begins clearing the rooms. 6 thick down comforters, 6 pounds of weight each. 3 beds, every piece of clothing in the place. After packing it all, she lifts the 2 portraits down from the wall and tucks them safely into the vault, the living room sofa, the desk lamps. Everything from a bottle of shampoo to the washing machine, Wren funnels it all into the vault. Even the kitchen, fixtures and all, she lifts straight out of the apartment and into the storage space. She stands in the empty living room and watches the sky outside the window. She is waiting for the sun. The moment morning breaks, she will walk into the real estate office and put the apartment up for sale. Her cash and savings combined are not even close to $200,000. To stockpile what she needs, the apartment is the only asset that can free up real money. Time is short. In 10 more days, after the blizzard truly settles in, supplies will not be available even with cash. The government will start quietly throttling distribution. Whatever money she still holds will lose most of its value. Yes, money will still buy supplies, but at multiples of the current price. A bag of rice that costs $7 now will run her $70 by then. She knows this. The second the sun rises, she has the deed in hand and she walks straight to the real estate office. A new development has just launched in Sector K, Crestview Heights. Before she even reaches the door of the real estate office, she hits a wall of hired actors at the entrance. A paid crowd brought in to advertise the new project. The visual of "look how many people want in" is supposed to bait curious passers-by into buying. Wren slides into the crowd and waits the better part of half an hour for the doors to open. The plant crowd plays its part well, lining up for deposits, model viewings, signing one smooth, choreographed flow. The lobby buzzes with noise. Wren is not sure how the agents pick out real prospects in a crowd this thick, but when she states her purpose, the agent in front of her stalls for half a second. He recovers and walks her over to the manager. Today's quota is moving the new development. If he closes a side sale on the way, he gets his cut. Sellers from the older complex usually do not push to close. When the manager hears Wren wants to list, he turns warm. The conversation flows easily. "Miss Hale, by chance, I have a couple of buyers eyeing units in Willowvine. If you don't mind, I can have them stop by to view the place." Wren does not mind. The apartment had been remodeled in pieces over years, every paycheck folded into the walls. A real number of dollars sit in those finishes. The manager brings 2 young couples through. The buyers want a quiet building. Willowvine matches. They walk through the apartment, like the layout, like the bones. The final price settles at around $240,000, higher than she expected. Wren says she will only accept cash. The other side does not flinch at the unusual request. The 2 couples are clearly from money. Family businesses, both of them. $240,000. Said, done. By that afternoon, the cash is pulled from a cargo SUV. If she had taken the apartment to the bank as collateral instead, she would have gotten 70% at best. Wren pockets the money. The manager personally drives her to the closest motel. When he asks why not a hotel, she says she is broke, that every dollar from here on has to be spent on something that keeps her alive. A young woman in plain clothes, hauling a black hardshell suitcase, pulls every eye in the motel lobby. She checks in fast and heads upstairs. She drops the case of cash on the desk. She does not move the money into the vault yet. She's not betting that the room has no cameras. Her eyes sweep the place. The big mirror on the ceiling, the TV facing the bed, the wall outlet with the small red LED winking on its face. As dusk pulls in, she lies down on the bed to sleep, the case within arm's reach. Even her sleep is shallow. The second the room hits dark, Wren is up with the case. She slips into a quiet alley and only then sweeps the suitcase clean into the vault. She finds a rental shop and uses her driver's license to rent a vehicle. A full-size truck is out of reach. On the clerk's recommendation, she rents a cargo van. Per her request, they find one that has the rear seats stripped, easier to load. The body is beat up, which makes it cheap, but it has obvious aftermarket modifications. 5 years living through the collapse means she's seen this kind of work before. She knows what to look for. She rents it for 2 months outright. 2 months from now, the blizzard will choke off every road. By then, this van will quietly roll itself into her permanent fleet. She pulls more than $400 in cash from her coat pocket. The clerk pauses for a beat. These days, everything runs through phone apps. Seeing someone pay in physical bills feels almost novel. She drives off. A regular citizen, suddenly flush with cash, will absolutely catch the government's eye. Add to that the volume of transactions she is about to run. If any of them go through cards or bank apps, then a couple of days into a routine sweep of money flow, the trail will be wide open, and the type of inventory she is buying will tell its own story. If this were after the riots, none of this would matter to her. But the riots are still weeks out. She does not want to be a person of interest while she still has to move freely. Snow is being plowed quickly off the streets. The moment a finger's depth piles up, sanitation crews push it to the sides. Children huddle in clusters along the road, gloved hands packing snowballs the second the workers clear another stretch. They throw, they sculpt, they shriek with laughter. After dusk, the food strip glows early for Christmas. Cheerful carols spill from speakers and turn the whole street into a party. The heavy snow has rendered every marked street parking spot useless. Wren's original plan unravels. She ends up tucking the van into a small alley. She walks the perimeter, confirms no cameras, and only then relaxes. Riverside Food Street is packed with every kind of customer. Heavy snow does nothing to dampen its nightlife. The strip wraps a small river. Couples buy food and lean on the railing to watch snow fall on dark water. The left bank is the food strip. The right is lined with massage parlors and foot spa storefronts, neon glowing red and green, silhouettes shifting behind frosted glass. Wren melts into the crowd. The fried rice cook works with the speed of a machine, 2 woks rolling at double pace. Wren orders 10 servings. At the next stall, 10 more. Riverside Food Street is thick with bodies. No one is going to track her. The food stall lady, momentarily idle, eyes the slim young woman ordering this much and asks, "Honey, 10 orders? You delivering to someone? This rice tastes best straight off the wok." Wren laughs along. "Yeah, my dad's got coworkers over for dinner. He's just up the block. Heard your rice is the best around. It'll still be hot by the time I'm there." "Oh, regular customers. Construction work eats a man alive. I'll throw in a little extra." Each order gets an extra scoop. She loads the food into the van. On her way out, she'd been barefaced. Now a thick scarf covers more than half her face. Only her eyes show ... ring. 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 Her phone goes off in the empty alley. She pulls it out. The screen reads Vance. She kills the call instantly. She is about to block him when the phone rings again. Vex. These two really are the kind of ghosts that don't move on. She thinks for half a second, then accepts Vex's call. She does not say a word. Vex clearly knows she has picked up, but the other end is also silent. Then Vex's voice murmurs, slow and thick with fake concern. "Vance, sweetie, maybe Wren is just going through something right now. That's why she's been ignoring you. Don't be upset." "Vex, baby, you tell me. Did I treat her badly?" "She said she was hungry. I made her plain congee from scratch with my own hands." "Vance, please, don't say things like that. It hurts me to see you like this." Vex looks up at Vance with that practiced, wounded gaze. On the other end of the line, Wren feels a wave of disgust roll through her. "Vance." Vex murmurs, suddenly louder, "I think Wren is on the line." Vance, mid-act of being heartbroken, freezes. He does not know if Wren has actually heard the rest. "Hello? Wren, why aren't you answering my texts? Why won't you take my calls? If I did something wrong, just say it. Don't shut me out like this." In the alley, Wren leans her back against the cold brick. The phone is held a full arm's length from her ear. With her free hand, she idly digs at her ear. She has not heard a single word. "Are you done?" "If you're done, hang up." Wren can picture the wounded soul look Vance is no doubt working on. It almost makes her gag. On the other end, after the call cuts, Vance barely manages to keep his face together. The room goes awkward. But Vex moves fast. Her fingers brush Vance's wrist, like an accident, then snap back, embarrassed. Vance is no rookie at this game. He reads the move instantly. Once he started dating Wren, he heard plenty about her family situation. Then one day, walking the mall with her, the two of them ran into Vex. After a few chance encounters, the two of them got close. Wren stares at the dark phone screen. A cold smile pulls at her mouth. This is just the warm-up. Stockpiling fast food off the strip is not efficient. Prices add up. Once she has hit her quota, she pulls out and drives off. She opens a map app and finds a takeout joint a long drive away. She calls in an order. Hi, this is Skyline Construction. I need to set up lunch for 1 week. 10-person servings, please. Make it nice. We're feeding executives. 3 more places get the same call. Fried rice. Takeout. Banquet trays for office events. 1 week of orders. Just 1 week. Because in 7 days, she is leaving Sector K behind. For the next stretch, when Wren is not picking up food, she is at the farmer's market. The black soil in the vault can grow things. She buys seeds in bulk, vegetable seeds, fruit seeds, even some basic medicinal herbs. She transplants whatever cuttings she can. The soil patch is roughly the size of the vault's main chamber. In her past life, she'd been able to pull living creatures into the storage too. Humans could not enter, but livestock could. She'd grown up with her grandmother out in the country. Farming runs in her hands. As for cooking, that came from years of feeding herself. With the seeds handled, food is in motion. For livestock, the farmer's market stretches. She's already done plenty of homework. Mostly chicks and ducklings. Wren buys 40 roosters and 40 hens. Same for ducks. Slow breeding, but enough for the years ahead. She partitions off 2 zones in the black soil and pens them in 2 big stone troughs. 1 for water, 1 for feed. Every day she shows up, she buys another animal. Over the week, she adds 10 cows, 20 lambs, 1 pregnant sow, and a young boar. The pig will produce piglets fast, so she does not need to overstock. But just buying this much already makes her a regular in the eyes of the older sellers. They are sharp. They do not need her trying to hide. One look at her and they pegged her and started pushing their best stock at her. To them, Wren is a high roller. She pulls out of the farmer's market and hits a big box store next, loading up bottled water and large jugs. For a full week, she rotates through the same stores. The day the staff start to recognize her face, she stops going. Candles, lighters, flint sticks, portable lanterns. Wren does not buy them in one place. She crisscrosses the city. On her last 2 days, she drives straight to the largest industrial district on the edge of Sector K. The factory zone runs deep here. She has scouted the layout in advance. She drives directly to the warehouses she wants. Women's underwear, basics, sanitary pads, toilet paper, garment factory, shoe factory, cleaning supply manufacturer, seafood plant, meat processor. With around $140,000 left, she drops $14,000 at each warehouse. She is one person. She could live to 100 and never burn through what she's already bought. Greed kills. Wren knows the rule. Originally, she'd considered going up to $30,000 per warehouse. The factories flatly refused. The reason? Recently, orders from above had come down. From now on, no large volume external sales. Each afternoon, government trucks roll in on a schedule and pick up the day's output. $14,000 is small change for these source-level factories. If she'd come during a normal sale event, $30,000 would have meant nothing. On her way out of the industrial district, she sweeps through one more lap. A few high-output solar panels dot an electric stove, a working fridge, and a few other appliances she can use. Then she leaves. A handful of items she still needs are not on the truck. She is not worried. After the riots break, half of those things will be free for the taking. She drives out of the industrial district. The streets have gone quiet. Even the sanitation crews are nowhere in sight. The snow is no longer a job for human hands. A small fleet of plows handles it now. Public excitement over the snow has burned off. The kids who used to run wild down every block are nowhere either. Online, the chatter has shifted hard. The government once said it was artificial snow. Now, slowly, the same channels are pivoting. Be careful when going outside. Plenty of people have started sensing something off. Photos of foreign cities buried in snow are lighting up feeds. The streets are thinning out, But the supermarkets and corner shops are wall to wall. A few vegetables are already creeping up in price. People are not happy. The video on her feed shows a chain supermarket's pricing in Sector L, white radish. The label used to read about a dime. Now it reads almost $1, nearly $2 per radish. The poster notes that her town is a small one, nothing major. Once she breaks the seal, posts about food prices in other regions follow. The government scrambles to respond. Citizens, please remain calm. Do not engage in hoarding or price gouging. If you see this kind of behavior, please report it. Wren scrolls through the feed. This holds for a short window at best. A flood of comments piles up under official accounts. People in remote townships have no access to plows. The roads are choked. Manpower alone cannot dig them out. People cannot get to work. Most have stopped trying. No work means no income. No income means no living. Online fundraisers are spreading fast. Wren is in a heavy down coat, so when she steps out of the van, she does not feel the cold. She stretches her limbs. Today is her last day in Sector K any later, and she may not be able to get out at all. She opens the shopping app and runs through her order history. She has burned through the last few $1,000s in her account on quality cold weather coats and shells. What she has for transport is the small gas-powered scooter that already belongs to her, plus the modified cargo van she rented. Wren watches the heavy flakes coming down outside. Time to move. She drives the planned route, the old route, the one she's known for years. The highway is no longer drivable. The subway has stopped. Flights are grounded. Her destination is Hale Hollow, the rural village where she grew up with her grandparents. She'd come back every year to pay respects. She knows that road in her sleep. In a small town just outside Sector K sits a dry goods store. Rice, flour, oil. Wren pulls up to it, follows the GPS through a couple of detours, and stops out front. The town has exactly one snowplow. As she rolls into the main drag, she catches the plow driver mid-argument with a small group of women. Snow has piled on their shoulders. They've clearly been at this for a while. She taps the horn. The argument breaks. The women, faces flushed red with anger, mutter and grudgingly step aside to let the van through. By the time she reaches the dry goods store, the warehouse is wall-to-wall with townspeople. She steps out. Her phone rings. Her academic advisor, Wren, the roads are blocked everywhere. Don't try to come back to campus right now. Wait for further notice. He hangs up almost as fast as he started. Wren already knows. The university is in full panic. Students stuck on campus are pulling every string available. Those with family connections are using them. Those without are paying premium rates for off-the-books drivers to smuggle them home. But the smartest ones are the ones who left earliest. The warehouse buzzes with noise. Rice, flour, oil, each is stacked in its own zone. Brother, give me a break. My house has more than 10 mouths waiting on dinner. This rice probably won't even last a month. And who knows when this snow ends. Sell me 2 more bags. The man pulls a pack of cigarettes from his coat as he talks, opens it, and offers one to the grain shop owner. The grain shop owner takes the cigarette and lights it. It's not that I don't want to sell, brother. The order came down from above. We can't just push extra. And there's plenty of eyes on us right now. Wren listens. From the moment the heavy snow first fell, the government had clamped down hard on these supplies. Even with the will to buy, you bought by ration card. Per head. The reason she did not start with this category is precisely because she understood that early. The line snakes long. By the time her turn comes, she ducks her face from the stairs and slides $150 in cash into the owner's sleeve. He feels the stiffness of the bills against his wrist. His eyes flick over Wren. 1 bag per household, that's the rule. He pulls the hand back into his sleeve and feels the thickness. 1 is fine. Thank you. When he hands her the 20-pound bag of rice, his voice drops to a level only the 2 of them can hear. Come back at 9. Then he turns away with a cheerful smile to greet the next customer. Wren takes the cue. Her face stays neutral. Money does talk. Across the day, she works the same trick at half a dozen stalls and burns close to $1,500 opening backdoor channels. She loads the van, and checks the time. 4:30 in the afternoon. Hours to kill before 9. She eats in the van, then masks up and walks back into town. Even at 9, she will still be able to buy, but in lower volumes, to avoid suspicion. Thank God for the Blackfield. Food is solved. She finds the town's farm equipment shop. The store is closed. She calls the number on the sign. The owner makes the trek through the heavy snow. "Miss, the snow's everywhere. Nobody can plant. What do you need machines for?" he asks casually. She fabricates on the spot. "We've got greenhouse vegetables out at our place. Things keep freezing solid. The equipment broke. Might as well just replace the whole rig. Oh, you must be from out at West End." Hearing greenhouse, the man jumps to his own conclusion. Wren is ad-libbing, but she nods along. "Oh, by the way, sir, I want a rice mill. A couple of tillers. A mower. A corn sheller. A soy grinder. A generator. An old wood stove." "Right. Do you carry sacks for grain storage?" He pauses. "I do." The list is essentially a complete farm kit. Just before the snow, I brought in a fresh shipment. "You need Crocs?" "I do." "Got the big ones?" Wren had been worried she'd have to track jars down separately. Tonight, even at the back channel, oil and soy sauce will be capped. She does not have time to make multiple trips. She'd already planned to grow her own rapeseed for oil and soybeans for soy sauce. She just needs the tools. The two of them are walking through Crocs when his phone goes off. He picks up. His face shifts immediately. Wren can faintly make out a woman's voice on the line. "Hospital. Bleeding." "I'm so sorry, miss. How about this? Come back tomorrow to pick up. I have to go now. My old man took a fall. Tomorrow is not an option. She is leaving tonight." "How about this, sir?" Wren says quickly. "Drag everything I just bought out front of the shop. Throw a tarp over it. I'll bring the van around and load it myself." She pulls 4 thick stacks of cash out of her coat. It is the price she'd already agreed to, plus a generous bump, just for him to help drag the gear out. The man clenches his teeth, rolls up his sleeves, and helps her haul. 2 pairs of hands cuts the time fast. The pile is out front in minutes. She heads to bring the van around. He throws a heavy tarp over the gear and rushes off. When she rolls up to the shop, she loads it all into the van and then quietly funnels every piece into the vault. She asks around and locates the town's coal depot. Coal is the rare commodity that has not been rationed, about $150 a ton. Wren drops $20,000 on coal. The depot has empty bunkers out back. She stashes her purchase there and tells the foreman she will haul it all that night. "Miss, come pick it up early. I don't have cameras here. It's freezing out at night. They don't pull a watch shift. If something goes missing, don't blame me." Hearing "no cameras," Wren immediately promises she'll have the load moved fast. "Miss, you want any coal dust?" The foreman glances at the workers unloading nearby. Wren thinks for 2 seconds, then buys 2 tons of coal dust. The foreman tosses in extra. These supplies, even burning daily, would last her over a decade. The deep cold after the blizzard runs about 6 months. The rest is buffer for emergencies. She snacks in the van until 9, then drives back to the dry goods store warehouse. The doors are pulled tight. Through the heavy snow, a man stands at the entrance, a half-smoked cigarette pinched between his fingers. As she rolls up, he glances at her, leans over, and pushes the door open just a crack. Wren slips through. Inside, it is much quieter than during the day. A dozen people are bargaining with the owner. The courtesy, already paid earlier today, buys preferential placement now. They keep their voices low. Wren walks straight to the rice owner. He smiles when he sees her. Of all the folks moving cash through this room, she's been the most generous. She does not haggle. Right now, she can still buy at base price. In another week, prices will more than double. "What's the cap?" Wren asks flatly. £2,000. The owner does not waste words. He turns and gestures at his men to start loading the van. He already knows Wren will buy. She does not negotiate. She pays in cash. Bank transfers are not even an option right now. Even the town's bank branch is shuttered. The ATMs have been bled dry. Cash is the only currency they want. Wren pushes a loaded handcart of rice out to the van and loads it herself. While she's at it, she discreetly slips a few sacks straight into the vault. Once the van is full, she deliberately drives a short loop around the town. By the time she rolls back, the van is empty. The man at the door, seeing her come back this fast, assumes she has people staged outside the town to offload. Next is flour, noodles, soybean oil. Wren spends $15,000 without blinking. Plenty for the long haul. Salt comes in cases of 20 bags each. They cap her at 25 cases. Wren buys to the cap. But salt is a high-volume need. It might not be enough. She loiters near the store, eventually slips an older woman a fold of bills, and asks her to buy another 25 cases on her behalf. The older woman is short on cash and cannot refuse. When Wren has cleared every line on her list, she drives out of the town, deep into the night. She is not heading for another city. She is heading back to her birthplace, Hale Hollow, on the outer edge of Sector K. Higher elevation. Snowmelt won't flood it. A handful of small villages cluster together up there. Sparse population. Nothing like the density of the city. The denser the population, the higher the body count once the riots hit. Hale Hollow also backs up to a real mountain. Once temperatures crash below zero, she can chop wood for warmth. Along the way, she passes a few snowplows still working, running shifts straight through the night. At every gas station she passes, she stops and tops off the spare cans riding in the van's cargo. Looking around, she notes that even with no attendants on duty, the cameras are still tracking. After the first can fills, she tops a second. She has been quietly building a fuel reserve over the past stretch, diesel and gasoline both, but the per-fill caps keep her supply slow. The van burns light. After she crosses the Sector K boundary, the dedicated plows disappear from the highway. She drives carefully, tracking the wheel ruts of the truck ahead. By midday, she rolls up to the edge of Hale Hollow. On the main road that links the village to the small town, a number of villagers are out clearing snow under the direction of the village head. Look who it is. A middle-aged man squints at the dark cargo van rolling toward them. Wren slows. A few of them stand directly in her path. She rolls down the window. An older man, close to 50, steps over. His tired, clouded eyes peer into the van. When he sees her, he grunts in soft surprise. Old Hale's second son's girl. What are you doing back here? Aren't you supposed to be in school? He looks her over, bundled head to toe. He almost did not recognize her. When a kid from the village gets into a top school, the whole village basks in the glory. Back then, they nearly threw a going-away party for Wren when she got into Greenvine. There's been some trouble at school. I came home and the road's blocked solid. I can't get back, so I figured I'd come visit Grandma and Grandpa's place. Her grandparents are buried out here. Every Lunar New Year, Wren comes back to pay respects. The villagers know her face. The men with the shovels step closer. They lean toward the driver's window. So it's old Hale's second son's girl. Got herself a car now, huh? Hey, Uncle. Hey, Auntie. Wren nods to each of them. They part to let her through. She drives toward the old house. Down the road, she passes more than a dozen teenage boys, shovels in hand, clearing snow from the village's main road. When they spot her car, every one of them stops mid-swing. They step to the shoulder. Heads tilt toward the dark windows. The tinted glass blocks them out. None of them can see who's inside. Hadley, what if it's your folks coming back? Your dad's car is black too. A boy elbows the one beside him. Hadley narrows his eyes at the approaching car. That's not my dad's. Probably not them. You guys recognize it? He glances around. Heads shake all down the line. The snow falls thick enough to choke the roads. Even cell signal stutters out here. Hadley hasn't reached his parents in days. He watches Wren's black car shrink into the distance. A few houses in this village run the same way. Kids stay behind with the grandparents while the parents work in the city. The narrow concrete road has snow piled on either side. The path itself is wider than she remembers. Wren parks in front of the old house. It's a single-story, U-shaped place. Not big. A 2-meter wall rings the yard, half buried under snow now. The door of the next house cracks open. They must have heard the engine. 3 small faces appear in the window. Every pair of eyes locks onto Wren. An old woman steps out, hands clasped behind her back. "Wren, sweetheart, came to visit your grandparents again?" "Yeah, Granny Hale. It's freezing out. Get back inside." Wren exchanges a few words with her, then opens the trunk and pulls out a shovel. She starts clearing the yard. 2 cars sit in front of Granny Hale's house. Her son must have come home. The whole family, by the look of it. Halfway through the yard, footsteps crunch behind her. Wren turns. A stranger, 25, 26. Hard to say. He wears a fleece-lined hoodie under a quilted vest, long legs and athletic shoes. A shovel hangs in his hand. His face gives nothing. "My grandmother told me to help." "No need. No need." Wren tries to wave him off. He doesn't move. She takes the shovel from his hand. He turns and pushes the snow-loaded cart out of the yard. She sees he's not backing down. 2 people work faster than one. An hour passes. The yard sits clean. The man picks up his shovel and walks off without a word. "Thanks." Wren drives the car into the yard. Inside the house, everything sits where she left it before Lunar New Year. An old TV in the middle of the room. A wooden cabinet under it, one door cracked. A spring-frame sofa wrapped in coarse gray cloth. Beside it sits her grandparents' bedroom. Behind that, the kitchen. Her own room is behind the living room. Each room is small. Wren pulls a coal stove from the vault, the one she bought at the farm equipment shop. She fits the flue pipe and lights the fire. Coal smolders inside. 10 minutes pass before flames catch. Heat starts bleeding out of the stove. The chill in the room thins. She loads more coal, then drives to the village hall. All her old packages have been waiting there. Coldish weather gear, an inflatable raft, a few blades for protection, combat knife, melon cleaver, folding blade. On the way, she spots a small grocery and a phone shop still open. She buys 5 electric blankets, 10 phones, 5 tablets. When she gets home, the stove is roaring. Wren tears open every package. 4 full sets of cold weather gear. Enough to swap and rotate forever. And she already has thousands of padded coats in the vault from the warehouse runs. She could wear one and toss it. By dusk, Wren drives door to door through the village. She picks up 2 sacks of rice and some dried vegetables. She came back empty-handed after all. Every household out here farms their own land. They've got more grain stockpiled than anyone in the city. Their odds of holding out for rescue are better too. She watches the stove blaze. She pulls a tub of pork lard from the vault and starts cooking. That night, Wren folds out the spring sofa. She draws the curtains, lays 2 thick mats over the cushions, throws a brand new electric blanket on top, and crawls in. Best sleep she's had since she came back. When she wakes, she opens her phone. Several unread messages. Vance. Vex. Aunt Hale. Her parents. Silent for ages, suddenly chatty. She skips Vance's. Opens Aunt Hale's. Aunt Hale starts with small talk. Asks how Sector K's treating her. Then, finally, circles to Vance. Vex's message is about birthday gifts. She's picking one out for Vance. Photos of limited edition watches attached. Cousin, which one do you think sorry Vance, would like? You've been with him so long, you know him best. Help me choose? The way she writes it, you'd think Vance was her boyfriend. Wren's brow ticks once. She taps Vex's profile. The avatar is 2 hands, fingers laced together. 2 hands locked tight in the photo. The background is dark, clearly in bed. Wren recognizes the hand at a glance. That's Vance's, so they've been at it longer than she knew. She just never caught it. Aunt Hale knew too. Aunt Hale never said a word. The whole family hid it from her, just because Vance could still scavenge food during the collapse. Vance's text reads like nothing's wrong. Wren, my birthday's in 10 days. Think you can make it back in time? Doesn't matter about a gift. I just want to see you. Wren glances at the roaring stove, the thick down quilt over her legs. She lays back on the bed, snaps a photo and sends it to him. The frame catches everything. The warmth, the comfort. 2 sweet potatoes roasting on top of the stove. She does the math. Right about now, the campus cafeteria is rationing meals. Sector A runs warm year-round. Every student in those dorms has summer weight blankets. Useless at night. And no padded coats for daytime, either. In her past life, Wren lived through every minute of it. She can already picture Vance's face when he opens that photo. She glances at her parents. Messages. They must have gone to the Willowvine Estates looking for her. Found new owners inside. They know she sold the place. They want to know where the money went. Wren, your brother's getting married. You sold the apartment, right? Lend him a little. Not much. 700,000 should do it. 700,000 yuan. Around $98,000. Wren reads it flat. 2 years after marrying her mother, Frank had already cheated. He has another kid, 2 years older than Wren herself. Her mother's text runs the same way, asking for money. The pitch is funnier, though. When you marry someday, your little brother has to carry you out of the house. Don't burn that bridge now, otherwise, who walks you down the aisle? People will laugh at you. When Grandma Hale died, the savings book she left for Wren was taken the same way. Frank held the line harder, so her mother got crumbs. Wren doesn't reply to either of them. She stays inside. The blizzard outside seems to be growing. The wind howls past the window. A car engine kicks on next door. She glances out. A white car rolls past her gate. She loads more coal, pulls up her phone. The news feed is wall-to-wall buried cities. Every video shows snow swallowing whole districts. Rescue workers slogging through drifts. Volunteer crews from all corners pushing into the worst zones. People are posting from inside their own buildings, saying their neighborhood sits in a basin. The snow won't clear. Whatever they shovel one day, the next day it's higher. The first floors of their complex are buried. They can't get out. Some haven't worked in over a week. People are trapped in their own homes. Food running out. Some haven't eaten in 4 days. They post addresses to the city's emergency network, hoping rescue reaches them. The government's reassurances grow weaker by the day. Eventually, they shut off comments and direct messages entirely. Too many people are waiting. Orders come down. The volunteer rescue teams are being merged, sent to nearby towns to pull people out. After breakfast, Wren draws the curtains. She pulls a dozen seed packets from the vault and starts working the black field. The machinery does most of the work. The seeds go in fast. When they bear, she'll harvest more seeds and replant. After the field's done, Wren wheels out the old chest-high pushcart from the yard. Her grandfather used to haul produce in that cart. She pushes it out, shovel in hand. Starts scooping snow from in front of the gate. Mounds pile in the cart. When it fills, she rolls it inside. Snowmelt is going to be a precious water source. She pushes load after load into the house, then funnels the meltwater into the vault. Bit by bit, a small mountain of snow builds in the vault. Late afternoon. 2 cars roll one after the other onto the narrow road. Granny Hale's family next door. Wren stows her shovel and pushes the cart back into the yard. Granny Hale's eldest son and his family. Looks like they drove into town for supplies today. By full dark, the blizzard turns vicious. Knock, knock, knock. The iron gate rings. Wren's hand slides under the pillow for the dagger. She slips it up her sleeve. The riots haven't started yet. But she's a woman alone. Someone's bound to get ideas. She doesn't open. She calls through the door. Who's there? The voice outside falters. Granny said to let you know. Town's about to get locked down. The market's only open Monday through Wednesday now. If you need anything, go soon. Got it. Thanks. Wren keeps her voice low. She waits until the footsteps fade before she goes back inside. 1,700,000 yuan in cash. $238,000 total. She's burned through nearly all of it. Around 15,000 left. She has to make a town run. If she stays holed up too long, people start wondering where her supplies came from. The next morning, before light, Wren locks the door and rolls out of the village. The boys are at their post again, shoveling snow at the road's edge. Every day, they look toward the village gate, hoping their parents' faces appear. They've seen the news. The government isn't deleting end times posts anymore. They're telling people to prepare, to shelter at home. That counts as an admission. Hadley, you got through to your mom yesterday? The kid next to him sounds jealous. Yeah. She said her and Dad would be back today. The village loudspeaker crackles to life at dawn. The town market is the official supply point. 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday, cash only. If you need to buy, go early. Several villages all funnel into the same market. Get there late, the shelves are bare. The road into town is bumper to bumper. By the time Wren reaches the market, it's almost noon. Half the shelves are stripped. She grabs a pack of egg noodles, 5 packs of instant ramen. The clerk eyes her hands and shakes her head. That's the cap. What Wren has is already staple food. 1 pack of ramen makes a meal. A handful of noodles makes a meal. And these aren't at base price. Staple food has caught up to rice prices. But rice has gone harder. The cheapest sack runs over $40 now. People still fight for it. Wren looks at the food in her hands. Stretched thin, every meal is a half meal at best. A half stomach, no exertion. Anything more, you crash faster. ID cards are required. The cashier logs each purchase into the system. 1 ration per person. Try arguing that you've got kids at home. Doesn't matter. Kids eat less. Just split your share. Word spreads fast that the market is cash only. People from other villages crowd outside, swearing. The town ATM stopped dispensing days ago. The bank has been shut for longer. The roads to the bigger cities are sealed off. Everyone here is used to phone payments. They simply don't carry cash. Wren steps out with her bag. The crowd outside the market closes ranks. They've been waiting for someone to come out with food. A middle-aged woman with a child by the hand pushes forward. She blocks Wren's path. Sister, please, sell me what you've got, triple price. The kid stares up at Wren. Pleading, Wren scans the crowd. A dozen pairs of eyes are locked on her. 5 times. Sell to me. A man steps in. He pulls up his phone, ready to scan. None of them have cash. 6 times. Another voice. Wren's eyes flick. She steps back. Not selling. Barely enough for me. Wren keeps her hands close. If they get bold, this could turn fast. The crowd grumbles. Eyes hard. But they part. The market door isn't far. People are still watching. Wren slips into the car. Just as she turns the key, a knuckle wraps her window. She glances over. A man presses his phone screen against the glass. The screen reads, 10 times the price. Wren doesn't pause. Engine on, foot down. The man falls back, swearing. In a flare of temper, his boot slams into the side panel. When she rolls back onto the village's main road, the village head is out shoveling with a crew. He's past 50. Dozens of villagers behind him. He spots her car. He walks over. Wren, town run? Yeah, it's a mess out there. She brakes at the shoulder. A few villagers drift over. They can see the noodles on her passenger seat through the window. She just got back from the city. The fields out here haven't been worked in years. Of course, she's got no grain. No one finds the town run strange. Old Hale's granddaughter, your uncle's potato crop did all right this year. When you head past his place, swing in and grab a few. An old man calls in through the window. Wren smiles, gives him a yeah, and drives on. Near sundown, Wren is clearing snow on the lane when shouts go up at the village entrance. Kids cheering. She lifts her head. A black sedan rolls in through the gate. As she pushes the cart back into the yard, the gate rattles twice. She turns. A man stands beside it. From my grandmother. It's Granny Hale's grandson, the quiet one. 3 days running, they've crossed paths now. Granny Hale and Wren's grandmother were close in life. He hangs a black bag on the bolt. He walks off. He barely speaks. His face shows nothing. Wren sets the cart down. She doesn't even pull off her gloves before she grabs the bag and follows him. Hey, wait. He stops. He watches her jog up. She holds the bag out. I made a town run today. Take this back. He doesn't take it. Grandma told me to bring it. He talks like a stiff message relay, like he doesn't get much practice. Wren, sweetie, you don't have anyone in that house, and you haven't got grain. Just take it. Word is, this snow's not stopping anytime soon. What you got from the market won't last you. Wren looks at Granny Hale leaning on her cane. She takes the bag. Wait a second. She digs through her pocket and pulls out a 100 yuan bill, about $14. She holds it out to him. He sees the cash. He hesitates, almost embarrassed. Take it. Medicine, food, it's all cash now. He looks at his grandmother. She's gone back inside. He takes the bill from Wren's hand. She pulls off her gloves and opens the bag. 12 sweet potatoes. 12 potatoes. Homegrown. Big. 1 or 2 of them. And you're full. She sets the bag by the stove, boils water on the kettle. A quick wash, then bed. In the morning, Wren rummages through the kitchen. She remembers her grandfather kept 2 firewood blades back here. She tears the kitchen apart. Finally, both blades and a saw, tucked on the rafters. The blades have rusted. She fills a basin and sets a whetstone beside it. She works both of them. The village blacksmith forged these. A few minutes on the stone and they sing. The edges catch the light cold. She loads the cart and pushes for the back hill. Plenty of villagers are already up there, blades swinging. She finds an oak, wide enough she has to stretch both arms around it. 10 minutes of work to drop it. A thin sheen of sweat on her skin. She props the trunk against the stump and starts the saw. The coal she stockpiled earlier is plenty for the long winter and the deep freeze. But she just got back to the village. She has to put on a show. The hill is crowded. She doesn't dare slip the firewood into the vault. She saws the trunk into rounds, loads each round onto the cart, branches and all. 3 trips before it's all home. She stacks the firewood in the yard, pulls up the news, splits logs while she listens. The skies may be cold, but people aren't. Yesterday, in Sector B's Gleamlight District, 2 elderly residents were trapped in heavy snow for nearly 3 hours. Several students passing by risked the conditions and pulled them out. We urge the public, when you see this happen, help. Think of your own family working far from home. Think of your own children alone at home. If they were the ones in trouble, would you forgive yourself for walking past? The phone buzzes. Wren glances at the screen. Vance. She thumbs speakerphone and answers. She doesn't speak. On the other end, Vance waits a beat. Wren? You're back? His voice runs thin. He's been hungry a while. About 4 days into the cafeteria rationing now. Almost ready to head back. I'm bringing you a lot of food. The shift on Vance's end is instant. Relief floods his voice. Good. I'll wait. Given how Wren used to lean on him, he believes she'd cross a snowstorm to get to him. After she hangs up, Wren's mouth tilts. She's in a good mood. She finishes the firewood and hauls it inside. Stacks it in her old bedroom. Vance has her promise now. He thinks she's actually bringing food. He'll spend the next stretch waiting for it. When he finds out she lied, no telling how far down he'll go, she cuts wood by day, rests by night. Wren's days are full. 3rd day, mid-morning. She's splitting logs when a voice calls from the gate. Anybody home? She picks up the blade and opens the door. A middle-aged man she doesn't know. Through the open door, his eyes scan inside. Are your folks home? I'd like to buy a little grain. His voice trembles. The padded coat he's wearing isn't warm enough. Underneath, a gray turtleneck, collar darkened with grime. He hasn't washed it in a long time. Word's gotten out that Wren's back in the village. The man at her gate isn't from here. It's just me, just back from the city. No grain. Try another house. Wren watches the disappointment land in his eyes. When he hears the city part, he turns and heads next door. To Granny Hale's. Kids open up. Are the grown-ups home? They run inside. A middle-aged man comes out. He looks vaguely familiar. Probably one of Granny Hale's sons. They talk for a moment. He goes back inside, comes back out with a black bag. The stranger tries to send him money. He waves it off. Brother, I owe you. The man says it over and over. Get home, friend. Every house out here has kids. Adults can skip a few days. Kids skip and you've got real problems. The stranger hauls the bag toward the village gate. In the days that follow, more strangers from town start showing up. They're trying to buy food off the villagers. The market rations don't fill anyone up. Every couple of days, someone knocks on Wren's gate. One morning, she heads out for firewood as usual. Halfway up the hill, she runs into Granny Hale's whole family. The middle-aged man, her uncle, used to play with Wren's father as a kid. The two had a falling out years back. He still remembers Wren. You're Wren, aren't you? Look how big you've gotten. Heard you got into Greenvine. Got more of a future than my own kid. Uncle Holt, y'all going up to cut wood? Wren leans on her cart and looks at the baskets on their backs. 5 people, 5 baskets. Yeah, he'll run. I heard you were headed up too. Walk with us. Uncle Holt finds plenty to talk about on the way. He runs through it. The family came out to visit Granny Hale because she'd been sick, stuck around for 2 weeks. The blizzard sealed the roads. They couldn't leave, so they stayed. He introduces everyone. His wife, Aunt Tessa, his older daughter, Helena, Helena's husband, Trent, and the kid Wren's already met 3 times, Hayes. Wren, you've got more to say than my Hayes. You two are about the same age. He's a block of wood, that one. Mouth like a stone. Wren doesn't bite. She just smiles back. When they reach the foot of the hill, Wren makes an excuse about firewood she stashed in a gully yesterday. She splits off. Half the back hill is already stripped. Since the end times rumors started, the whole village has been up here. Bodies everywhere. Whole families working in tandem. 2 cutting, 1 sawing, the rest hauling. Wren works alone. But they get it. She lives alone. She can't burn through much. 3 trees a day is plenty for her. When Wren feels lazy, she gathers the branches the others leave behind. Tied into bundles, that's still a few cartloads. A week slides by. Monday, supply day at the market. Wren wakes early, jacket on, parka over the top. It doesn't look like much, but the wind doesn't get through. She pulls on her fur-lined hat. The iron gate rings. Wren, you headed to town? It's Helena. Wren opens the door. Her nose is red from the cold. The padded coat she's wearing is the old style, Granny Hale's by the look of it. My dad said if you were going, we should ride together. You're a girl on your own. Anything happens, we can back each other up. Wren feels the dagger strapped at the small of her back. She nods. She's confident she could come back from town in one piece on her own. 5 years of the collapse, she can handle a dozen ordinary people. Hold on a minute. We're almost ready. Wren follows her over but waits in the yard. She doesn't go inside. The road into town stays plowed. Cars can still get through. Most of the adults in Uncle Holt's house are coming. Just Trent staying behind to watch the elders and the 3 kids. Wren's car follows theirs. At the village gate, a dozen people stand waiting. Villagers planning their own town runs. Even with food at home, no one passes up more. Most don't have cars. They wait at the gate, hoping for a lift. The Holt's car is full. Wren's car has the back seats stripped. Just the front 2 left. The village head pushes 2 people forward. He comes to Wren's window. Wren, can you take these 2? My son and his wife. No problem, village head Hale. Get them in. Just, there's only 1 seat. One of them has to crouch. No problem, no problem. I'll crouch. Let my wife sit. The village head's son speaks first. They've been waiting half an hour. Other villagers ride family deep. They can't all fit. Wren taking these 2 is the best they'll get. Crouching is fine. When Wren got into Greenvine, the village head thought she couldn't afford tuition. He'd wanted to throw a going-away party, gather some money for her. She never forgot that. Han, you sit. I'll crouch behind you. The man climbs in and grabs the back of the passenger headrest. Once his wife clicks her seatbelt, Wren pulls out. You're Wren, aren't you? They say you're our village's golden child. The woman fishes for conversation. Wren cuts left. Auntie, what are you picking up today? Got your ID on you? The woman pats her pocket. Got it. They say rice has gone up, though. A 10-pound sack? $70 now. Crime, that? Yeah. Lucky we live country. Grow our own every year. Heard the city folk haven't got rice at all. Brutal. The couple trades lines. Wren thinks about her old life on campus. Brutal? The brutal hasn't started yet. At the shopping plaza, Wren parks anywhere she can. The couple plans to ride back with her too. They note the spot before joining the market line. The crowd outside is thicker than last time. Maybe half the town. People from every nearby village. Uncle Holt's family is already in line. Wren takes a spot a few back. The village head's son and his wife are near the front. While she waits, she catches the cries, "Thief! Thief!" and after that, sobbing. You bastard. That was my family's grain money. Without it, what do we eat? I've got 3 kids waiting at home. Whoever took my money, please, just bring it back. I won't say a word. Just bring it back. My parents and the kids are waiting on me. Please. The whales dig in. Women around her wipe at their eyes. Everyone here has children to feed. The woman who lost her money is talking about ending it. Some are pointing fingers, accusing strangers. Did you take it? Was it you? It was you, wasn't it? A woman with eyes swollen to slits shoves up beside Wren. She jabs a finger at Wren's nose, calls her a thief. Wren doesn't fold. Lady, you were crying way over there a minute ago. We're nowhere near each other. Which eye saw me take it? The woman was just throwing accusations to throw them. Wren's cut shuts her mouth and breaks something. Ah! She shrieks like she's snapped. Wren's turn. The doors crack open. The crowd in the holding pens surges in at once. Wren slides into the wave. Mid-dash press, she feels a hand worm into her pocket. A sewing needle slips into her right palm. She drives it straight into the hand. Beside her, a scream goes up. The kind of squeal a butchered pig makes. Heads snap toward the woman. Wren melts into the crowd and moves on. The woman searches the crowd for Wren. She's gone. The puncture on the back of her hand burns. Inside, Wren heads straight for the household goods aisle. Everyone's hunting food. No one's looking at flashlights. No one's looking at supplies. Wren grabs a few packs of batteries, 5 or 6 flashlights, 2 military-grade tents. The food supply has thinned since last time. Last week, instant ramen and noodles were still on the shelves. Now there's only compressed crackers, flour, and small sweet rolls. Same per-person rations, a week's worth on paper. Wren takes 3 pounds of flour and 6 packs of compressed crackers. It's not even a week's worth in reality. And the price is triple what it was. Food's getting scarce. And still, out there, plenty of people aren't eating at all. Uncle Holt's family is waiting outside the market. When Wren steps out, Helena rushes to her, worry written on her face. Wren, we need to move. Hayes said people are robbing folks outside. Helena can't make sense of it. Her eyes are wide. They were worried about Wren, a young woman alone. Easy mark. So they waited. Wren scans the crowd. Plenty of unfriendly eyes. Yeah, let's go. Everyone clutches their bags. The patrol presence outside the market is half what it was last week. Sis, can I trade you cash for my Venmo balance? 500 yuan for 100 in cash. A man cuts Helena off. He shoves his phone screen at her. A few others who've been waiting see the play. They close in. Sis, I'll do 1,000 for 100. Take mine. Helena's a stay-at-home mom. She's never been in anything like this. Hayes' warning about robbers had already shaken her. Uncle Holt and Aunt Tessa, walking ahead, see the crowd close in. They double back. They step in front of Helena. Brother, we don't have a thing left on us. Spent it all in there. Prices in there aren't what they used to be. This is everything we got. Uncle Holt pulls 50 yuan in coins from his pocket. The men still don't budge. Just the 50? Fine. I'll wire you right now if you say go. Brother, 50's enough. I've got 2 old folks at home and 2 kids. Whole family's waiting on a meal. Trade with me. Wren watches a few men drift through the crowd toward them. A flat shine in her eyes. Her hand slides toward her back. Hayes is 6 feet tall. He stands head and shoulders above the crowd. He sees it too. He takes his father's coins, walks straight up, and presses them into one man's palm. Thanks, thanks. The man bolts into the crowd before anyone can take it from him. With the cash gone, the rest fall back. The Holts move out. Helena's grip on Aunt Tessa's hand has gone bloodless. Out in the parking lot, more circling. They've learned. Hayes and Uncle Holt say nothing. Bags clutched tight. Everyone moves toward the cars. When Wren reaches her car, the village head's son and his wife are crouched between 2 parked vehicles. Clothes disheveled. Seeing her, they straighten up. They breathe out hard. Wren, finally. Let's go. This place is getting bad. We almost got mugged just now. Auntie, get in. The two scramble in. Wren pulls out fast. Uncle Holt's car leads. The wife starts venting before her belt clicks. "Hon, back at the plaza. Someone had their hand in my pocket." I didn't even dare yell. You understand? They got me too. Lucky Dad warned us not to keep cash in pants pockets. Crazy how a pack of crackers costs that much. Used to be a few cents. Everyone bought roughly the same thing. The supplies are that thin. Out on the main road into the village, plenty of people on foot, packs on their backs, heading toward the plaza. No cars. No choice. The car ahead brakes hard. Wren can't stop in time. She grips the wheel, swerves right, and grinds to a stop on the shoulder. The two in the back aren't so lucky. Thump! They both slam into the door. What happened? They pull themselves up. Look through the windshield. Two sharp inhales right behind Wren's ears. Oh God. What a tragedy. A long red streak runs across the snow ahead. Fresh. The packed snow on the road is stained dark. Pieces of viscera. Strips of flesh. A severed limb in the middle of the road. The car ahead's door swings open. Helena drops to her knees on the shoulder, retching. Aunt Tessa isn't doing much better. A woman crouches beside the severed limb, sobbing without shape. The trail of red runs the length of the road. Bone fragments. Tissue. Spread across the surface. The car that did it ran. Aunt Tessa is helping Helena back into their car. People are gathering around the woman. No one knows what to say. Words don't help. Not now. Damn shame, all of it. The village head's son says it under his breath. After what they just saw, the rest of the drive is dead quiet. Back at the village. Late afternoon. Wren is roasting a sweet potato when kids call from her gate. Wren! Wren! She opens up. 3 kids, bundled like snowmen. What's up? Wren, the village head says snow's piling fast. Every household has to send 1 person a day to clear the road. If we don't, the road gets buried. And the village head says households with only 1 person. They only have to clear 3 days a week. Yeah, sure, tomorrow. Wren agrees on the spot. Hale Hollow sits a little high. Regular clearing keeps the road open. That night, Wren lies on the sofa bed. She thinks. The vault opens before her eyes. The seeds she planted earlier have rooted and sprouted. The growth cycle inside is faster than outside. The rice stalks already reach to her arms. She doesn't know when they'll ripen. Every night before sleep, she walks the field. The chicks are bigger by the day. Round-bellied, every one. She's hoping for eggs. Once they lay, she can stockpile sweet rolls in real volume. The phone rings. Vance. Wren scrolls back through their chat history. She's been working him hard lately. Every dinner, a photo. Even a single roasted sweet potato. Enough to keep him hungry for days. Wren, they're saying Sector A is about to lock down. Where are you? On his end, Vance's eyes are sunken. His cheeks have hollowed. He starts a video call. Bad signal. The spinner turns and turns. 5 minutes before it connects. The ring runs a few seconds. Connection failed. Auto disconnect. Vance stares at the photos she sent. He swallows. Wren had said she'd bring food. He thinks she's already on the way. A rustle from the next bunk. The sound of food packaging. Vance's stomach twists tighter. Tobias? Tobias. He calls out twice. The other side goes dead silent. Tobias isn't sharing. Vance's eyes turn dark. Wait. When Wren brings food back, he won't share with Tobias. Not a crumb. He'll make Tobias watch him eat. He drifts to sleep on the thought. Morning. Wren takes her shovel to the village gate. 30-some people already waiting. Hale Hollow doesn't have many residents. A dozen or so households. The village head splits everyone into 4 or 5 teams. Wren ends up with the kids she keeps running into. Their job is the inner village roads. Hayes counts as young muscle. He goes with the middle-aged men to the main road. The rest take the back hill. Villagers have been heading up for firewood. 8 of them on the inner roads. Wren walks in with the kids. Let's split. 8 people, 4 on the front half, 4 on the back. It's faster, and nobody loafs. I'm in. A boy nods immediately. The others think a beat, then agree. They used to clear together, felt more like hanging out. Wren, front half or back? The boy steps up beside her. Back. She remembers the reservoirs that way. She wants a look. I'll go with Wren, back half. 2 more pick up behind him. The split works? They finish by noon. Usually they're out till dusk. Wren, here. When they wrap up, the boy walks over. He pulls something dark from his pocket and holds it out. The smell hits before she sees it. Chocolate. I'm fine. Keep it. She pushes it back. Wren, we all got some. Take it. 2 of his friends step closer. Each has a piece in their mouth. Hadley, your mom brought back a haul. This chocolate's good. Hadley's 2 best friends. Wren can't shake him. She takes the piece. The 3 kids head home. She walks the back path toward the reservoir. Halfway up, she passes Hayes and the back hill crew clearing snow. The reservoir behind the village is wide and clean. Wren climbs the fence and works toward the bank. Boots punch through snow. Deep, then shallow. The slope is loose. She moves careful. She crouches at the water's edge and dips her hand. Hand into the water. A pull starts in her palm. The reservoir starts feeding into her hand. The level drops. A faint drag line opens around her. Once the pit is full, she lifts her hand. She straightens. Shakes the water off her hand. Footsteps behind her. Fast. A familiar voice. Wren. Don't do anything stupid. Wren. It's Hayes. He saw her, heading for the back hill, and followed. The reservoir is back there. He's heard about her family from his grandmother. She's had a hard life. You're overthinking. Just came to look. For a second, his face goes awkward. Then back to skeptical, cold, like this. Who comes out for a look? He doesn't leave until Wren is fully off the bank. She pulls up her phone. 1 bar. The blizzard's only the first move. After signal goes power. Then water. The city goes dark in 1 night. 3 days slide by. Wren's clearing duty wraps. Morning. She doesn't go up the hill for wood. She walks the village first, then drifts toward the reservoir. Wren, where are you headed? One of the hillside houses. The door opens. Hadley steps out. A woman in her 30s follows. She has a wooden basin of water in her arms. With a whoosh, she dumps it onto the road. Just a walk. Wren disappears at the bend. The woman frowns at her back. Hadley, whose girl is that? I've never seen her around. She looks too pretty for the village. There's a finish to her, not country. Mom. That's Wren. Old Hale's second son's girl. It clicks for the woman. Oh, her. The snow at the reservoir hasn't been touched. Wren scans, then slips down toward the water. Lately, she's dug a massive water pit beside the black field in the vault. Pulling water from the reservoir into it, no one will know. She crouches, hand into the water. A pull starts in her palm. The reservoir starts feeding into her hand. The level drops. A faint drag line opens around her. Once the pit is full, she lifts her hand. Drinking water? Solved. Now she just has to wait for the riots to start. Then she'll hit the Sector K water research facility. They've got purified stock there. The world is white from edge to edge. Even the old trees are buried. Snow falls in heavy clumps. Hits the parka with a soft hiss. Wren retraces her steps. In a storm like this, the village stays inside. The concrete road is empty, except for her tracks. Mom, look how big my snowman is. Mine's bigger. Mom, look. Passing the neighbor's place. Helena and 3 kids bundled up tight, building snowmen in the yard. Trent has the smallest one on his shoulders. The kid keeps yelling for him to lift higher. Inside her own yard, Wren restarts the fire from leftover coals. She lays a wire grate on top. She arranges the barbecue skewers from Riverside Food Street. Skewers hot off the coals, snow falling beyond the window. She thinks about what she's seen on patrol, the looks, the tension, the way the food question is starting to bite. Her mouth tilts. Doesn't matter how plain a country person is. Hunger tilts everyone. She snaps a photo of the skewers. Sends it to Vance like she has every night. Reply comes fast. He asks where she is. Sector A is locked down. Can she still come? She lies. Almost there. A rustle from the bunk next to Vance's. The curtain on his bunk lifts. A hand snakes through the thin summer blanket and the clothes piled on top. The colds pushed Vance to use everything he owns as bedding. The hand finds him. Skin cold. He jerks awake. He shoves the curtain back. Tobias stands at the edge of his bunk. Smile too long. What are you doing? Vance is rage-flushed. Tobias doesn't speak. He just looks. The smile drops a chill down Vance's spine. Tobias's right hand digs in his pocket. He pulls out a compressed cracker. Holds it out to Vance. The other hand keeps moving toward him. The intent lands. Vance recoils. I don't want it. Get away from me. The look on his face goes from anger to disgust. Real disgust. He didn't see Tobias going there. His stomach turns. Vance has been this hungry. He throws himself out of bed and stumbles to the balcony bathroom. He retches. Tobias's smile vanishes. His eyes track Vance's path with a flat kind of cruelty. In the rocking chair at home, Wren has a skewer in one hand and her phone in the other. Scrolling. Sector L, Sector C, and the towns around them. Power's been cut. People with their last bar of battery are posting, pleas for rescue. Hopes a team gets to them soon. They were already starving. Now no power means no heat? They're cold and hungry. Anyone surviving that? But the worst story isn't the blackouts. It's a small town near Sector M. A volunteer rescue team got in. They found bodies. The terrain there's remote. No plows. No volunteer crews of their own. The roads sealed up at the start of the storm. The market got looted. By the time the rescue team made it in, the shelves were stripped. The cashier's body had already started to turn. Everything inside the market. Gone. Houses where the elderly stayed alone, kicked open, food stolen. Some had been a week without eating, drinking melted snow while they waited for rescue. The story drops like a stone. Lights up the feed. If it could happen there, it could happen anywhere. People can do the math. If the snow keeps coming and rescue never reaches them, they're staring at the same ending. Wren scrolls the comments. The accounts posting are thinning out. More cities going dark. The government's reply is the same, a lifeless lifeline. Wren closes the news and opens her class group chat. Right after she left, her academic advisor packed up and got out before Sector A lockdown. Classmates are venting. Early on, the advisor was at least there to keep morale steady. A week ago, she stopped posting. I'm starving. Anybody got anything? Anything at all? I'm starving too. Cafeteria's a joke. 1 bun and pickled veg a day. The pickled veg has gravel in it. Gravel? Yesterday, I bit into a dead rat in mine. Jealous. Jealous. The replies all run jealous, leaving the original poster confused. What's there to envy about a dead rat? The freshman group is louder. The school had told Sector A residents, go home if you can. Students from nearby cities, get back fast, dressed warm. The rest are too far to leave. Wren glances at the row of phones beside her. She tapped the neighbor's Wi-Fi recently and pulled down hours of video. Movies. Shows. Memories almost full. She also grabbed 1,000+ completed novels. Plenty to kill time later. 3 days till the market reopens. Wren wakes early. She runs laps around the village to keep her body sharp. Wren, the snow's heavy. Come back. Take a break. You'll catch a cold. Helena calls from her gate. The youngest kid in her arms. It's fine. Snow's not bad. One more loop. Wren keeps moving. 2 more loops, then home. The firewood blade on the sofa. She puts it on the whetstone. The hiss of steel on stone settles her chest. The blade's already keen. She tests the swing. Good in the hand. Monday, Hayes comes knocking once he's ready. They figure Wren needs more help than most. Single woman, alone. The road into town stays cleared. The other villages have given up on the daily clearing. Hale Hollow hasn't. So once Wren's group passes the village line, the road tightens. They park and walk. The village head's son went home full of stories. This time, fewer villagers come. Maybe 20. Helena stays back. Trent comes instead. Uncle Holt has him slip the cash into his underwear. Wren has a backpack. A man drifts out of the crowd toward her. Vaguely familiar. Saw him on snow duty. Wren, what are you picking up? You just got back from Sector A, right? Bet you're light on food. If you don't get enough, swing by my place. She turns and looks at him, files the face, like she's caught his angle, his eyes shift. Sure, but I'm picky. What have you got? She says it dry. The second she says it, half the people around them flick their eyes toward him. He thinks she means it. A weird shine flares behind his stare. Same harvest every year. You know how it goes. But since you've asked, I'll save the best for you. Once he says it, the villagers start remembering. Outside of the village head's house, this Hank has the most farmland, bigger harvest than most. Wren, pretty thing like you? Got a boyfriend? Hank moves closer, cuts the gap. She steps back and pretends to be tired. Doesn't acknowledge him. He moves up and lays a hand on her backpack. Wren girl, let me carry it for you. 2 sentences and he's gone from Wren to Wren girl. Hank, you're how old? Hitting on a kid? Uncle Holt steps in. His tone snaps. A few villagers laugh out loud. Hank is closing in on 40. Still single. Look around. We're all guys here. Wren's the only girl. I was just trying to help. Hank's skin is village thick. He shrugs it off. But Wren reads the faces. A second ago, when Hank said his harvest was fat, half the villagers had drifted closer to him without thinking. The plaza crowd is half what it was last week. The faces in line have hollowed. Cheeks sunk, like they haven't eaten in days. Don't take my food, don't take it. A man stumbles out of the market. A dozen people are on him in a heartbeat. Hands and feet. They're tearing the food right out of his arms. His wife pulls him back into the doorway. The padded coats they're wearing rip in the struggle. The food they bought scatters across the snow. The mob piles in. They're on their knees, scooping it up. The man tries to break free of his wife to dive after it. Don't take it. That's for my kids. Please. The crowd doesn't hear. They get what they get and melt back. What do we do? Trent mutters. Behind him, the rest of Hale Hollow's faces have gone gray. Wren scans the crowd. Plenty of buyers in there. But the press of robbers outside means no one's going in. She doesn't move. Too many people. Taking on 20 at once is past her line. She isn't gambling on it. But Trent has 3 kids waiting. He won't stay still. He starts toward the market. Hayes catches his arm. Don't. Uncle Holt stops him too. Y'all going in or not? Hank looks at the group. He's a thug at heart. The chaos doesn't faze him. Wren, want to come in with me? I'll cover you. Hank says it. By that point, she's already drifted 10 paces away. After Hank and a few others push in, Uncle Holt brings Trent and 1 more man over to her. None of them want to risk it. But going home empty isn't an option. Not in their heads. Dad, what now? Trent looks at the doors. The back exits are jammed too. The dozen mall security guards just stand there. They watch the pack hunters work the doors. They don't move. We wait. Hayes turns to Wren. What do you think? She wasn't expecting him to ask. Nothing to suggest. Wait it out. Maybe something shifts. Her fingertips inside her sleeve trace the dagger handle. Hayes doesn't catch her meaning. But the 4 of them have nowhere else to go. Half an hour later, a heavy-set woman bundled head to toe walks up. She measures their clothes first, then closes the gap. The second she gets near, Wren clocks her. Mask on. Eyes squinted small. Brown blotches scattered under them. Looking to buy food? Voice low. She picks Uncle Holt, the oldest. Trent looks at her. You got some? We're buying. His voice carries. The woman steps back. Hayes is calmer about it. This is what Wren meant by something might shift. Buying? Follow me. She cuts into the crowd and heads away from the plaza. Wren says nothing. She follows. Trent and the others stay close behind her. The woman leads them to her place. Behind the house, an old grain shed, rice sacks stacked against the right wall. She pulls down her mask. Han, customers. A small middle-aged man walks out from behind the stacks. He's got a calculator. How much you buying? His face flushes excited. Cash only. And it's not cheap. Trent eyes the stacks. What's the rate? $350 a sack. Firm. Hayes and the others go still. $350 a sack is steep. The stacks themselves look stored a long while. The husband and wife aren't worried about a sale. They stand there pushing them to decide. $350 a sack. $1,400 buys 4 sacks. And the market's not cheap either. After a quick huddle, they decide to buy. Wren, you got enough? Uncle Holt looks back at her in the doorway. I got it. She counts out $350 without a pause. 3 of them buy 4 sacks. Uncle Holt shoulders 1. Hayes and Trent each take 1. They drag the 4th. The owner points them down a side path away from the main road. On the way back, Trent won't stop griping about the price. Wren, if it's too much, let me carry yours. It's fine, Uncle Holt. I've got it. Wren walks at the front. Steady. She doesn't slip once. The blizzard wipes their outlines. Footprints. Some deep, some shallow. Trail behind them. The sack rides heavy on her back. She thinks about the couple at the shed. There's always someone moving on the hunger. Dad, I've been reading the news. People online are saying this snow could go on a long time. While we still have cash, while we can still buy, we should stockpile. Wren glances back at Hayes. Trent agrees. Both of them have read the room. If they don't buy now, the price climbs again. After the riots start, cash turns into paper. Wren girl, want to come along later? I'm fine, Uncle Holt. Bought some in the village already. I'm one person. I'll have plenty. She turns it down flat. It's been 2 weeks. The rice she planted in the vault is heading already. Heavy gold ears. If the harvest holds, 3 years' worth. They cross the snowbank to the cars. They load the sacks. They have to circle back to the shed. Wren splits off there. Sacks in the trunk, she drives back to the village. Inside, the stove is roaring. She peels her parka off and sits beside it. Her cold, bitten nose comes back to color. When she's warm, she stands and reaches for the light switch. Click, click. She looks up at the dead bulb. Power's out. No signal either. Phone reads no service. Outside, the sky's going dark. She pulls a flashlight from the vault, loads the batteries. She finds the old oil lamp on the kitchen rack. The wick's gone gray. She trims it and feeds in a new one. The lamp catches. The room glows warm. Near twilight, she hears engines next door. Uncle Holt's group. Back. But once they're in, a wail goes up across the village. Wren leans against the sofa and listens. Most of the crying is women and kids. My husband went out with you. Why are you all fine and he came back like this? I don't care. You're going to answer for it. Dad, wake up, please. The wails pull half the village toward the noise. She doesn't move. She kills the lamp and lies on the sofa bed listening. Aunt Walsh, that's not fair. Yes, your husband came with us. We split up once we hit town. He came back like that. Go ask Hank. He went with Hank. Trent's voice. A few others chime in. I don't care. Every one of you is on the hook. Otherwise, how do we live? A widow and orphans. Aunt Walsh's pitch climbs. Like she's found her footing. Village head, you have to mediate. The shouting drags on for hours before it settles. Next morning on snow detail, Hadley fills Wren in. A villager named Vince, out on the town run yesterday, got jumped after leaving the plaza. Stabbed several times. Bled out. Gone. When the family called the police, the roads were sealed. The officers couldn't have come anyway. They've got a stack of cases and no eyes for Hale Hollow. And the market schedule's changed. Monday through Wednesday is now Monday only. Miss Monday, miss the week. Skip a meal becomes skip 7 days. Wren isn't surprised. The government can stockpile all it wants. It can't outlast that many mouths. And this is just a small town near the countryside. The cities are tighter. The snow keeps stacking. The villagers on clearing detail are quitting one by one. Used to be 1 body per household. Now there's barely a dozen. After last night's blackout, the rest pulled their packs and went up the back hill. Their crew started at 8. Now it's 4. What used to wrap by lunch is taking till dusk. When they're packing up, the village head calls them over. Don't bother tomorrow, go home. Rest. There's nothing in his voice but defeat. The neighboring villages and the town are dark. There's no fixing it. The temperature's dropping fast. He's been outside an hour and he can feel his core slipping. Wren plants the shovel. From a distance, she sees a figure standing at her gate. Too far to read, slim build. Closer up, a woman. Familiar. The woman hears her boots and turns. Wren, what took you so long? I've been here half a day. The woman's brow has Wren's shape, the mother who hasn't called in years. Marlene. After the divorce, Marlene left Wren in diapers and married a man in the next village over. Hale Hollow isn't far from there. Word of Wren's return travels. Wren is grown. Saying she doesn't hate them would be a lie. Wren, you're a woman now. Surely you understand the choices I made back then. Marlene starts to cry. She steps closer. Wren steps back twice. Mrs. Hayward, I understand your choice is fine. You and your husband chase your love story all you want. Just don't show up at my door. Nobody knocks unless they want something. Especially not these two. They've passed her around like a hot potato her whole life. Say what you came to say. Marlene gets the look, stranger. She thinks of the boy waiting for dinner at home. She drops the niceties. Wren, I'm the one who gave birth to you. Your brother hasn't eaten in 2 days. You went to town today, didn't you? Share a little. The pitch comes like Wren owes her money. A snort. Wren laughs out loud. Aunt Hayward, who are you? Begging at my door now? Have we met? 19 years. Marlene's village is an hour's drive from Hale Hollow. Marlene never once made the trip. When Wren got into Greenvine and needed tuition, both of them ducked her like a rash. Sick. Same thing. Wren let go of expectations a long time ago. She just wants them gone. What did you say? I'm your mother. You're flesh of mine. Your grandmother didn't teach you any manners? Wren's eyes flatten. She steps toward Marlene. What? What are you doing? Marlene's voice trembles. The look on Wren is too much. A clack. The gate at Granny Hale's place opens. 2 figures step out. 3 kids behind. Wren? Late to be standing out here. Uncle Holt's voice cuts the dark. 1 figure carries an umbrella. He starts toward her. By the build. Hayes? Marlene turns and bolts down the side path. Wren watches her shrink. Marlene clocked her this time. She'll be back. If anything comes up, knock next door. Hayes stops beside her. Can't see who Marlene was. But Wren is a woman alone. People notice. Thanks, I've got it. Wren keeps the favor in her ledger. Marlene hasn't gone far. A flashlight beam blooms on the field path. She didn't come alone. Hayes is used to Wren's distance. She'll trade words with anyone in the village. She doesn't let anyone close. After clearing duty ends, Wren runs to the back hill every day. Snow's swallowed half the slope. The villagers keep going up. Half the trees are cut. Used to be they left the small branches. After the blackout, they're digging up roots. Mornings, exercise at home. Afternoons, wood detail. Near dusk one day, Wren runs into Hadley and his 2 friends. 3 boys squat in a snow pit, working at something. The villagers have already cleared out. Just Wren and the kids. Hadley holds a few green leaves. A pack leans against a tree. Once they're done, they crawl into the pit and dust snow over themselves. Wren watches. A white shape darts out of the snowbank. Her pupils tighten. It moves fast, but she sees what it is. A rabbit. Plump. It got away. It got away. Half the leaves in Hadley's hand are gone. The rabbit's a blur. The kids scramble after it. Wren grabs a bundle of dry kindling and snaps it down the rabbit's escape line. The kindling clips it. The rabbit pinwheels and flops, knocked cold. They spook easy. A scare can stop one dead. The three boys stare at the kindling on the ground beside the body. They turn around with wide eyes. Wren, that was sick. They lift the rabbit by the ears and bring it over. Wren, you got it. We didn't earn it. Hadley's face says he wants it. The kid has principles. She takes it. Wasn't just me. Your bait set it up. We split. She pulls her firewood blade. Once they realize she's not pulling their leg, the three exchange a look. Wren, you keep it. But can you teach us how to catch one? 3 pairs of eyes go bright. They didn't even see her swing. Wren, 2 days ago we found a rabbit warren. Tried for 3 days. Got nothing. Show us? A warren. Wren's interest spikes. Rabbits breed fast. 2 breeders. She'll never want for meat. Snow's buried their feed. They're coming down the hill to find food. She tells them, yes. Tomorrow, 3-page M, back at the same spot. Next afternoon. Wren pulls a compound bow from the vault. Cost a small fortune online before the collapse. 3-page M. The villagers are hauling wood. Nobody's watching her. Wren? That's a bow? Like in books? That's cool. Hadley and his friends stare. Hadley brings a slingshot. The 3 boys lead Wren up the hill. Wren? This is where we found them. She drops to a crouch, pushes a gloved hand into the snow. After scraping out a small pit, she finds rabbit prints, a fresh print every meter or so, places where they've landed mid-jump. 3 boys watch her hands. Shh. She puts a finger to her lips. 3 breaths catch. They follow the trail deeper. Past 2 pines, she throws a hand up. They duck behind her without thinking. She slides the bow off her shoulder. Knocks an arrow. In her past life, the compound bow was her favorite when guns weren't an option. The boys follow her line of sight. 3 rabbits sleeping in a snow pocket. They're fat. Hadley breathes the word. The arrow flies. Short range, full draw. It punches through 2 of them. The third wakes mid-leap and bolts. White on white, gone. Wren, got 2. The kids reach the pocket. The second rabbit still kicks. Wren steps in, grips the arrow, pulls. Done. She drops both into Hadley's pack. Move. She leads them after the runner. This time, no bow. Slingshot. The kids brought a bag of stones. She lands a stone in the rabbit's right hind leg. Live catch. A pregnant doe. The boys stare at the slingshot. In their hands, it's a toy. In hers, it brings down a rabbit. She runs them through the basics. Stance, draw, release. Splitting the catch. Wren takes the doe. The 2 arrow kills go to the boys. Day 4. Hadley brings his parents to Wren's gate. 2 days back, he came home with a rabbit. His parents nearly cried. Once they heard Wren had taught him, they sewed a fur cap from the rabbit's hide and brought it over. Hadley says you live alone. Don't farm any. Got too much in our garden. Gonna freeze before we can eat it. Brought you some greens. The leaves are crusted with frost. Worried she'd refuse, they set the bundle on her gate and leave. She takes them in. The pregnant doe in the vault is being cared for, should kit soon. Since the slingshot lessons, the 3 boys train in the trees every afternoon, Monday. Uncle Holt's family decides to make the town run. I'm staying, Uncle Holt. I've got enough from before. Wren passes. Nobody clears the road anymore. The route's buried. They can't drive. They walk. Wren watches 3 figures move through the snow. Helena, Hayes, and Uncle Holt. She hasn't seen Trent in a while. No internet. The phone is just a movie player now. She drags the rocking chair out of the vault, lies back, watches the snow. Afternoon. After a nap, she clears the snow off the front and back yards. All of it goes into the vault. A flake lands on her lash. She blinks it away. She thinks about Vance, holed up at school, her mouth hooks at the corner. Sector A isn't just Vance. Vex is there. The Hales have a shop near the campus. The cafeteria is probably not even pushing buns and pickled veg anymore. The kitchen ladies have grabbed what's left and run. Knock, knock, knock. The gate. Anyone home? If you're free, come help at the West End. A man's voice. Wren looks at the gate. She doesn't answer. The voice waits, then leaves. Around 10 p.m., a child's crying wakes her, and Granny Hale's voice. Hush, hush. Granny's got candy. Mom'll be home soon. Wren rolls over. Town market is Monday only. Today's plaza was probably uglier than last week. The crowd hasn't eaten in 2 weeks. The wind howls. From the West End, a funeral horn starts up. Wren can't sleep. She sits up and feeds the stove. The horn carries past midnight before it stops. Morning. Wren runs her usual loop. Passing Granny Hale's yard, the old woman calls her over. Wren, could you do me a favor? Granny Hale leans on her cane. The hat on her head is thick with snow. She's been out here a while. Wren doesn't say yes right away. 3 kids stand behind Granny Hale, eyes wide. Granny Hale, let's go inside. It's coming down hard. Wren looks at the old woman. Thinks about the years of kindness. She can't say no flat. The layout inside hasn't changed. 2 sofas, an old stove between them, coal blazing. Your Uncle Holt and the others didn't come back from town yesterday. I want to go look. Can you watch the kids? The 3 children sit on the sofa. 3 sets of eyes lock on Wren, no question. 5 years of the collapse turn even the bright kids selfish. Out there, helping people meant cutting yourself. Hand a thick-skinned freeloader a meal once and they'll bury you. Wren learned all of it the hard way. Her face is heavy. Granny Hale sits by the stove, silent. Granny Hale, stay home with the kids. I'll find your son's family for you. Where's Trent? Haven't seen him lately. Wren keeps it casual. Trent is the kid's father. Why wouldn't he be the one going? You all brought back enough food last time. Trent's parents are still in Sector J. He went to get them. Roads there are sealed too. 2 days maybe. She talks to Granny Hale a few more minutes. Granny Hale, let me go pack. Then I'll head into town. Outside, the wind cuts her neck. Her head clears. Granny Hale has always looked out for her. There's a line in Wren's chest. Back home, she draws the curtains. Straps the dagger to her arm. The bulk of her coat hides it. She sharpens the firewood blade and tucks it into the vault. Quick to pull. Compound bow over her shoulder. She walks out. Wren, thank you. Be careful. Granny Hale's clouded eyes are wet with worry. For the kids. For Wren. The old woman's past 80. She sees more than the young ever do. Wren walks the village path. She isn't alone. Others are heading out too. Same goal. Looking for husbands and sons who didn't come home. The snow chokes the road. A dozen of them push forward into the wind. 2 hours to the plaza. The sight stops them dead. Across the square, every snowdrift is stained red. Dad, Dad. 2 kids, 13, 14, kneel beside a body. Wailing. The Hale Hollow group's eyes glaze. They start digging through the drifts. Each time they uncover a face, they let out a breath. Not theirs. Honey, wake up. Please. One of the women with them throws herself onto a body. Sobs. What happened? What? Call the police. We have to call the police. She pulls her phone. Dials. The line is busy. Her phone slides out of her hand. A wave of strength runs through her body. She gathers the man, frozen stiff, against her cheek. Babe, what happened? You went out for groceries. How did it come to this? Tears keep coming. She holds the body tight. The Hale Hollow group has nothing to say. Carrying their fear, they start lifting the dozen bodies in the square and laying them in one row. Not here. So where a man mutters under his breath, Wren scans the dead. Uncle Holt's family isn't in the count. She heads for the plaza doors. The pool of blood inside the entrance has frozen, thin crust on top. The temp isn't cold enough for full freeze. It crunches under her boot. Crack. Her soul comes up red. She doesn't look down. She moves toward the main doors. When she sees what's at the doors, her pupils tighten. Her right hand finds the dagger under her sleeve. Ready. A dozen bodies in front of the doors. Stacked. Deliberate. Blocking the entry. A scream goes up behind her. Even Wren, 5 years through the collapse, pulls a breath. It's only the start. Who kills like this? Who stacks bodies? Footprint patterns in the slush. More than one killer. Out here, it's town and villages. Country folk run honest in the main. Even the bad ones don't run this dark. She turns the bodies. Uncle Holt's family isn't there. The relief doesn't come. Something heavier lands instead. The wounds are messy. Multiple slashes. 4 with throats opened. Opened wide. Whoever did this isn't a pro, but they're brutal and decisive. Either ex-con or wanted. Either way, not a first time. In her old life, Wren learned, ordinary people need a runway before they kill. Even when they cross the line, they have one. But in the collapse, she'd seen the other kind. No brakes. No code. They tortured for the joy of it. What's in front of her matches that profile. And it's only the first month of the snow. That Uncle Holt's odds aren't good. Most of the villagers from Hale Hollow drop where they stand. A few hold their feet. They help her lower the stacked bodies. Son, who did this? An older man drops with one of the bodies. He breaks. The man's pushing 50. He cradles a face streaked with red. Take me. Don't take my boy. God. Old hands move across the face. Wiping. He's from Hale Hollow. None of his neighbors are stepping up to help. They sit in the slush. They can't bring themselves to look. Afraid of finding their own. Once the doors are clear, Wren moves inside. Pitch black. Her flashlight cuts across stripped shelves. By the storeroom door, 2 women in employee uniforms lie in pools. Long gone. Inside the storeroom, half the racks are stripped. The other half are tipped. Ramen, bottled water, drinks scattered. A row of seasoning racks and ready meals. All the food gone. The sauce sachets and the broth packs swept too. Anything fresh is dead in the fields. The leftover seasonings sit untouched. Useless without ingredients. This is the deep storage. Past it. Furniture, blankets, bedding. Wren glances out a window. The plaza outside is busier now. Villagers from neighboring settlements arriving. The blackout killed the cameras days ago. She moves fast. Aisle by aisle, the shelves empty into the vault. She takes more than 50 cases of bottled water and drinks. Stockpiled in the vault. That's a year or 2 of slow drinking. She sweeps the whole plaza. Still no Uncle Holt's group. Where did they go? She steps back outside. In the square, the wife has found a curtain somewhere. She's wrapping it around her husband. Honey, are you cold? I'll take you home. Her tears are still going. The other end of the curtain is wrapped around her own waist. She tries to lift him. Can't. Wren slides her arms under his armpits and hoists him onto the woman's back. Thank you. The woman fixes her with a long look. Then she walks. Slow steps, then steady. Each step grows surer. Like a current's running her. Wren doesn't know where Uncle Holt is. But the bodies aren't his. That means somewhere. He might still be alive. Last time, they didn't shop here. They went to a couple in town with a private grain store. If Uncle Holt didn't come to the plaza, did he go there? She heads for the grain shed. Her weapons are what she's got. No firearms in this country. Abroad, she had no permit. Getting a gun will take a while. Wren moves down the town's main strip toward the shed. The town is dead quiet. Every window is curtained. Nothing visible inside. If a few chimneys weren't smoking, she'd think the place was empty. They've heard about the plaza. That's why every door is shut tight. Before she reaches the shed, she catches the sound. Wailing, footsteps closing in. She drops behind a dumpster in the alley. Footsteps pass. She peeks around. 2 middle-aged men in black quilted coats. They walk straight out. She listens. The wailing comes from inside the grain shed. Sounds like a lot of people inside. She slips around to the back. The blizzard covers her line of sight. She drops flat behind the shed. Snow buries her in seconds. She's less than 50 meters from the back door. The compound bow is too obvious. She slips it into the vault, unknown numbers inside. She doesn't move yet. At the back door, 2 men, smoking. They're talking through cigarette smoke. The one on the right turns and walks back inside. He comes back out, hauling a woman by the arm. Short hair. Her clothes are torn. The skin above her elbow has gone purple. Her hair hides her face. The man behind kicks her left shin. She drops. She scrambles up. He shoves her toward the shed owner's house. Wren has watched long enough. She rises out of the snow and runs along the dead angle of the 2-story building. First floor, 2 windows. She looks in. The shed wife, heavy build, slumped at the base of the stairs. A second body next to her. Build looks like the husband. Both dead. Stiffness has set in. Skin's mottled. She braces on the sill. Drives up. Boots find the ledge. She launches. Hooks her hands on the upper sill. Body swings. Feet catch the clothes rack. One smooth motion. Twist. Reach. Both hands find the second floor window. It's cracked. The man took the woman to this room. The window is open 3 fingers. She works the dagger into the gap. Pries it wider. Looks in. The man has the woman pinned to the bed. The woman cries and twists. He slaps her hard. You think you got rights now? Without me, you wouldn't see daylight. The slap turns her face. Her eyes find Wren at the window. Wren sees the look. Help me. The man clocks the shift. He turns. Wren shoves up, wrenches the window full, and lands inside in one motion. Before he can shout, she's in his space. The dagger drives up under his chin and into his mouth. She twists once, pulls, drags the blade across his throat. Blood sprays the woman with the short hair. Her scream starts. Wren clamps her hand over the woman's mouth. Shh, don't yell. I'm here to get you out. Finger to her lips. The woman trembles. Once Wren's sure she'll keep quiet, she lifts her hand. The woman scoots back fast. Wren doesn't push. She wipes blood off her face and hands with a wet wipe. Then off the dagger. How many in the shed? She pockets the dagger. 8. They've got a few prisoners, too. The boss is out. The woman's voice shakes. She thinks Wren might kill her, too. You a cop? Hope flickers across the woman's face. Wren shakes her head. The hope dies. 8. Wren stands. 8. She can handle. She crouches and lifts the dead man's hand. Calluses. 4 thick ones in the right places. Farm tools. Villagers. Pulled in by the boss. Aside from him, just farmers. How long's the boss been out? Since early morning. 2 hours. Wren ignores the woman now. The dagger slides from her sleeve into her palm. The grip closes around the handle. 5 years of the same draw. Reflex. She covers her face with a mask and walks for the shed. She moves like a stroll through her own backyard. 3 at the front door. 1 at the back. Coming through the back is fewer. Less mess. The smoker at the back sees a figure forming in the snow. His eyes narrow. He reads, woman. He blows smoke. Hey, which village you from? Then the figure in the storm comes at him fast.